We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, Gary Gray from Fairly Odd Parents, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, the Sci-Fi Sisters, and from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager, Tim Russ.
Hi, I'm Tim Russ. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for the Urban NerdCon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone con. I'll see you there. Live long and prosper.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone's con. See you there.
Hello, and good evening. Welcome to another live episode of the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan Fulford here with Kelvin Rozier and Marcus Green. Brothers, how are y'all doing tonight?
I am doing wonderful, man. It's so much winning going on. All we do is win, man. We winning in sports we weren't winning in, man. I mean, men's basketball won 2 games.
All we do, everyone hands up.
Bama, Florida.
Bama.
What is it? Flamma-Bama?
Bama, Alabama, something like that. I mean, you know, our state to the north.
Hey, look like every sport we participated in, we have a SWAC player of the week. We just running things. Not bad for a football school.
I think the only one we don't is women's basketball, but yeah, pretty much like this week. But you know, I mean, hell, when you had a 3-week run with Ariana Grizzle, it's like, yeah, you know, hey, look, I mean, come on now. I mean that, and she was that's happened a few times where we had some people win 3 in a row, but I mean, just the fact when you talk about that winning, the fact that we're winning on consecutive weeks. I mean, like the tennis season is only 4 weeks old. 4 consecutive weeks. Baseball 2 weeks old. We've been on it 2 consecutive weeks. Softball's 3 weeks old. We've been on it 3 straight weeks. I mean, that
indoor track.
Our champions. I mean, indoor track was running. It's a beautiful thing going on right now. Marcus, how's the weather in the bitter cold Northeast?
It's bitter cold. Actually, it's warmed up. The last couple of days, it's been almost 60.
What?
Which was, it's almost unheard of. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop because it's not really time for this weather. But all this Rattler winning is keeping it warm, though. I'm telling you, I was watching the baseball game, and we'll talk about that a little later. We had some opportunities on Saturday, but other than that, to go 2-1 down there, and you're a witness to it all.
Oh yeah.
And then tennis is doing very well in conference and competitive. Golf
just won a tournament.
Mm-hmm. And I know we snagged a couple wins, I believe, in softball with the HBCU tournament.
First 2 of the season.
When Kelvin says we win, all we did is win. I don't think any sport finished either below no sport finished below a winning record over the past 6-7 days since our last show. Every sport has either gone plus unbeaten or at least 500. If I'm not, I think maybe I don't know.
I want to put this plug out early for the show.
Get it in there.
Now we're playing the Guard Lucas Classic in Atlanta.
Correct. That's is that this weekend? This weekend in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've been asking and wanting one of those green FAMU Atlanta Braves hats for about a year or two. So if anybody is going up there, I don't know if it's the Atlanta Alumni Association. I had a couple people tell me that, hook a brother up.
All right. So again, Rattlers, you've heard the call. Anybody in the Atlanta GA area going to the Garherd, because I think it's at the park that the Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think it's the Atlanta
AAA affiliate, the Gwinnett Stripers or something like that.
Stripers, not the Stripper. It's funny. I heard someone else almost catch themselves. It's the Stripers.
Yeah, it's a little north of the Strippers.
Yeah,
all the strippers are downtown.
Well said, Marcus. Look at you with
not all of them. Not all of them.
They're venturing out. They're venturing out.
It's a big city. That thing they call Atlanta. It's a big city. Yeah. So anybody that's going to the game in the area, if you can find the green, I think this is the one that has the A in the old style Braves, like the Hank
old
Aaron
style Braves A.
Yeah, the Hank
and
Aaron A.
And it has on the Rattler logo on the side.
All right.
And I first noticed it last year when I believe Hank Aaron's granddaughter threw out the ceremonial first pitch, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, so Marcus is, if you want to gift it to the show or gift it to Marcus, I'm sure he'd be appreciative. But he'd also, he'll probably pay you if you just reach out to him on his Twitter handle, Peter_G. I'm sure he'll pay you if you just want your money back. But if you do want to gift a hat to Marcus, or Kelvin or myself, I'm just gonna throw us in there too. Hey, that'd be appreciative too. We won't say no. We won't say no to gifts. We won't say no to gifts. All right. Well, like I said, we got a lot to talk about today. Got a great guest lineup. Hopefully, you guys saw the tweets and messages that went out. We got coming up at the bottom of hour one, our head golf coach, Coach Mike Rice, will be joining us at the bottom of hour one. Of course, as Kelvin just said, the golf team coming off a big win over the last couple of days. So we'll talk about them. And then coming up in the top of hour two, we've got Gerald Huggins, the second, a draft analyst at drafthbcuplayers.com. His handle, of course, at drafthbcu. That's his Twitter handle. That's the company's Twitter handle. Of course, I think I put his Twitter handle, his own personal Twitter handle out there as well. But he'll come on, and obviously he was eyes on. I think was he at the Legacy Bowl as well? He probably was there.
I believe so.
Okay, so we'll get a chance to talk to him about the Legacy Bowl. Of course, our Rattlers were there. Some of the major headlines that went on. And then at the bottom of hour two, we've got good friend of the program coming on, the official promotion for assistant head coach. I left that out in my graphic, so I want to make sure I get my man's title correct. He is now the assistant head coach / offensive coordinator. Coach Joe Henry will come on, a good friend of the program. We're happy for Coach Henry, as well as Coach Milton Patterson, who was officially named the defensive coordinator. And hopefully you guys got a chance to catch them on the 220 Club luncheon earlier today. Always good to see Mr. Jackson and his bad jokes. Always good.
He gets a couple good ones in there.
Every now and then he'll sneak one in there, but it's a rough one today. It's the first luncheon of the year, so you give him a little bit of grace on that first one.
I don't know.
That's just me.
I'm a tough crowd.
Yeah, you are. You're a tough nut to crack. So, but we appreciate everybody for checking in. However you're watching us, I've seen some folks chiming in on X either on our ONG
Twitter.
Strike Zone page or via the Black College Sports Network. You might be watching us on YouTube, either on the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. We say hello to all of you, and maybe even our ONG Strike Zone page. We say hello to you as well. And then, of course, cannot forget our friends on Facebook watching us on the Black College Sports Network Facebook page and the ONG Strike Zone Facebook page. All right. Before we get into, what we like to do around this time, fellas, we like to kind of roll through a quick shout out and just kind of do what we call a nice little roll call to people. Say hello to our friends and even in some cases, family or FAMU who check in. So without further ado, let's get the first one in there. And of course, like I said,
let's
start with family/FAMU. Good to see you, Kenny. Checking
What's up,
in.
Ken?
Yeah. Ashley C. checking in. Good to see you, Ashley. Thanks for joining us.
Marcus.
Go ahead and put those. And also, when you guys check in, when you check in, let us know where you're checking in from. So that way we can see where you all are checking in from. Good to see you, Marcus.
Megan in the house.
Hey, what's the update? I know our baseball team is up there in that area, up in Macon. We're playing Mercer. I guess I should put up the my Rattler app. And let's see if I can follow along with some score updates, in-game score updates. My phone is buzzing.
I know they started an hour later.
They did. They started at 7 instead of 6. I don't know. Is it raining up that way?
That's my assumption.
Okay. Well, we'll check that out coming in. Also coming in, Melissa Wilson. Melissa checking in. Demetra Alford. Good to see you. Hello, Demetra. Thanks for checking in. Bull, good to see you, Bull.
What's up, Bull?
Good to see you, Bull. Meredith checking in. Hello, Meredith. Good to see you as well. Thanks for checking in. Reggie Delane. Good to see you, Reggie. Thanks for coming in and checking out the show. Good to see you. Mary 305. Hey, Mary. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. Checking in from Monroe, Louisiana. Chuck Hunt. Good to see you, Chuck.
The one and only.
Checking in on Facebook. Good to see you. My brother, Tony. Good to see you, Tony. Thanks for checking in. Good to see you. Shako. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in.
Hey,
I
was checking my messages. Did I miss the high?
No, for Tony, yes. I'm gonna let's rewind it. Tony checking in. Good to see you, Tony.
The high.
There we go. We had to make sure we do that right. Leonard Chat. Hello. Good to see you, Leonard. Appreciate you checking in. Tamara T. Hello, Champ. Good evening to you, Miss Champ. Good to see you. B. Starks. Good to see you, B. Checking in. Greg Baynard checking in. Good to see you. Checking in on Twitter. Good to see you, Alice McCullough from Riviera Beach. Good to see you, Alice. Joel Musgrave. What up, fam? Good to see you, family. Thanks for checking in. Steve Campbell checking in. Mr. Campbell, what's good?
What's up, Coach?
Doing great tonight. Kelly, good to see you. Thanks for checking in. Jimmy Mack. Appreciate Jimmy Mack. Had a great time traveling down to the Andre Dawson Classic with Jimmy Mack. Love to see it. Had some great conversations, man. Great stuff. So I appreciate you, Jimmy. Glad to see you checking in. Some good stuff. Give me a few show ideas too, Kelvin. We have to talk about that. Got some good show ideas. While we were on the ride down to the Andre Dawson Classic at Jackie Robinson Training Complex. Had a great time talking to the baseball team. Appreciate, Joseph Perini took a time out to interview. Hopefully you guys saw that on game day. Did a quick little interview with him. Shout out to Jalen Niles also. Said he watches the show. So shout out to you, Jalen. Yeah. I introduced myself. He said, I know who you are, sir. I said, okay, Jalen. I said, appreciate you, brother. Coach Shoop also.
Ain't nobody going to see you, Otis.
Who said that? What are you talking about? Sam Gilbert checking in from Albany, or is it Albany? Sam, check.
No, hey, in the South it's Albany.
Okay, there we go. That's what they call it. James Austin, good to see you, James.
What's up, James?
Appreciate you coming in. All right. I think we got everyone good in. There's the boss, the CEO of the Black College Sports Network and Jericho Broadcast Networks. Also a Rattler, Mr. Roy Evans II, traveling safe on the road. Appreciate you, boss, for checking in on the road.
It's been a minute. I'm glad you could check in, boss.
Kerry Daniels from Jacksonville, Florida. Good to see you, Kerry. Thank you for checking in. The Dean is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, Doc?
In from Houston, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill checking in. Good to see you. Another doctor in the house, Dr. Strachan checking in from D.C. Good to see all these doctors in the house. Where's my Dr. Lori at? So we can make it a trifecta. Where's the doctor at? Jay Hunter checking in. Good afternoon, family. Appreciate you. Hello, checking in.
Hello.
Let me see. Who else? Dwayne Sweet.
What's up, Sweet?
Sweet.
Checking in. All right, Marcus, you were checking out baseball. Give us a quick baseball update, if you will.
Yep. It's 0-0 top of the second with one out. So nobody's gotten a hit. And it looks like I didn't see for us.
At 8.
Yeah, I came in. It started late. It started even later than before. So I think it's supposed to start at 7. And then I saw something, I guess around 7 o'clock, said the top is still on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So top of the second, one out. FAMU's batting. And I can't tell. I think nobody's gotten a hit, no error. So, and we played them close last night, too. I thought we were going to come back.
Yeah. We'll talk about baseball here in a second. Hello, Kenya. Hello, champ. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for coming in. All right, let's get to a few things here before we bring in Coach Rice. As always, we like to start the show and remind you to donate to the Rattler Athletic Fund. You can find a way to support FAMU Athletics in any possible way by just clicking on that QR code. Go ahead and scan it now with your phone. Find your favorite sports program. And, it's only fitting. Today, since we got golf coming on, let's go ahead and donate to golf today. So if you're so inclined, let's go. What's a good number we can use for golf, guys? Give us a good number that we can encourage people to use to donate to the golf program. Any ideas? Any quick thoughts? A good number?
I don't know, 72. Isn't that par? For I don't know.
I like that. Holes? Yeah, look at you. Yeah, but they only play 54 usually. So what's that? Okay. Is it 54 then? 54?
It was a 54-hole event, yes.
Yeah, 54. All right, so let's say the magic number 54. So, hey, if you can donate $54 to the Rattler Athletic Fund, make sure to send it to the golf program. That would be great. Obviously, any donation amount helps, even if it's 10, 20, 25. But if you're able to drop in 54 to represent the 3 rounds of golf that usually play at the college collegiate level, that'd be a great way. Make sure you designate that to the men's golf. Also, it's not the end of the month. Today is not the last day of January, so that means tomorrow. Leap day is tomorrow, and it is your last day to purchase your fan ring to commemorate the 2023 SWAC and Celebration Bowl champions, our FAMU football team. A.D. Sykes, of course, at the luncheon, she confirmed 2 things, one of which I tried to tell y'all, is that she did say that this is a fundraiser to help pay and support the purchase of 2 sets of rings for the football team, who are going to get their own separate SWAC championship rings and their Celebration Bowl rings, which is something that look, that's not uncommon at the collegiate football level. Most schools will do that. When you win your conference championship, that usually gets you a ring. And then because of bowls and the bowl, most people usually get bowl rings as well. So it just so happens that this particular bowl comes with an HBCU national championship tag to it. So, of course, so you buying this ring, again, I think it's like $300 for the ring, $250 for the pendant. That
$275, I think.
Okay, $275. That'll get you. That'll get you. What would I get you? It'll get you that ring, right? And then also it'll be very similar to what the players are going to get a little bit later, and that is supposedly the fan or the championship rings will be issued out April, right before spring, right before the spring game. I think is when they're planning on doing that, from what we were told. So yeah, look, Mr. Would Campbell say, why not do a direct ask for the ring? Well, how'd that go? How did direct asking go? Keep it honest. The direct asking didn't go all that well. It went well, but I personally think when you just ask for the kind of money that you just asked for, I think you want to kind of subtly do it different. Just my thought. You guys got any thoughts of that?
Nah, it's Rattler Nation. We support champions, so you ain't got to be around the bush.
All right. Well said. Okay. Well, hey, look, we don't get a chance to talk about men's basketball a lot, because we haven't been doing a lot of winning. But doggone it, we did some winning this weekend in the Lawson Center. Our men's basketball team got a sweep over the Alabama schools at home, beginning with this game on Saturday as they took out the uniformless Alabama State Hornets. Shout out to Cozy's Fitted Hat for pointing this out, and really that thing just ran all over. That's all Saturday was filled with people with jokes about how could this happen. And it's not the worst. I'm gonna tell you, it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, that's why you carry
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
You think so? You think so?
I mean, you playing a game and you don't have game uniforms. And this late in the season, how do you leave your uniforms, man?
Well, but look, I mean, it's not like they were playing in what was
what
the
are
thing?
you what are we talking about, man? What are you talking about?
They weren't playing in pennies. They weren't playing in pennies like you were back in elementary school. Hell, it's got the name on it. It's got the numbers on it. I mean, come on now. At least they got matching tops and bottoms. Come on, it's not the worst thing in the world.
It ain't game uniform. It ain't NCAA regs, which is why they got a tech.
Did they get a tech?
Yes, they got a tech. Of course.
Oh, why? Why? Because there's no number on the front?
The front was not NCAA regs.
So there wasn't it had to be the number, the fact that there's no number on the front. Because that was the only thing that would prevent that. I mean,
yeah. They got a tech.
All right. Okay. Epic tweet by FAMU basketball, of course. Forgot uniforms. Blew a 16-point lead and lost to the Rattlers. It's a Alabama State checklist. That's a great tweet there by it's probably been a minute. That's one of them ones that you had in the can.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, you had that one already in the holster.
Yeah, hadn't been too many things to kind of talk about as it relates to that. Kelvin, you were on site. What's your thoughts on that comeback in that game? Any thoughts you want to share on that game?
I have to be honest. The Saturday night game, I left.
Oh,
and I left to watch the Legacy Bowl and try to catch the end of and that was right around the time that we had went down like 16. So I didn't see the comeback. So I'm glad they did come back, but When I left to go watch the Legacy Bowl, it was about 6 minutes I think left in the first half, and we were down double digits. So I don't know what the hell happened. Because we were looking bad, man. I mean, we were looking bad. We were looking bad, man. I was like, well, let me just go and catch the Legacy Bowl then and see what baseball is doing. Because
just looking at some of the game notes, FAMU held Alabama State to 31.5% shooting from the field. They held Alabama State to 15% from the beyond the arc on 20 attempts. 6 blocks as a team. Pretty impressive. Keith Lamar showed up, had a game high 22 in that game.
It was a weird game, Brian. As Demetra pointed out, we scored the first 8 points of the game, and then we didn't score for like 10 minutes. Alabama State went up like 27-8. We couldn't buy a basket, man. So like I say, I don't know what the hell happened.
That is great. Demetra about to head down and ask for some money back. That is great. Oh, that's a beautiful note. Yeah, but the Rattlers got a win, and then followed it up the next night or Monday night with another win, with a beatdown of Alabama A&M. This time, no question.
Yeah,
no questions asked in this one. A great tweet, another great tweet. Now we know who the real A&M is. Keith Lamar leading FAMU with 29 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal.
SWAC Player of the Week.
Exactly, earning himself recognition by the conference as Player of the Week. I think that's the first time. Is that the first Player of the Week we've? No, I think. Well, yeah, it might be, isn't it?
On the men's side.
Men's side, yeah.
For us.
Yeah. So all in all, I think this is the first 2-game winning streak we've had. First 2-game winning streak. The team is now 6-20 overall, 4-11 in conference play. And as we come up on the final three, I believe the final 3 games of the season, I don't think, even if we win these last 3, I don't believe we have a shot at playing in the SWAC tournament.
I think everybody from 5 through 8 would have to lose all 3 games, and we would have to win all 3.
Okay. Well, that's going to be a challenge because coming up this weekend, we play the top 2 teams in the standings at Grambling State on Saturday and then at Southern on Monday before finishing the season on Saturday, March 9th against Bethune-Cookman. So, yeah. Well, like I said, we enjoyed the weekend. Congrats to Coach McCullum and the guys on getting the win.
Split.
Getting the win for them. And I think the ladies got a split as well. We'll talk about the ladies a little bit later, but the ladies got a split. They are still in the top 8, so we'll kind of break those standings down a little bit later in the show. Anything else you want to add in there regarding the basketball weekend for the men, Marcus?
No, I was pleased to get the win. So I was like, thought we were going to ride off in the sunset, but they showed some fight and some grit. It was a little nip and tuck early on Saturday, but
everybody else winning. You know, that winning get contagious, buddy. You know,
it does. It does. It does. Winning gets contagious because it's like, yo, everyone else is winning, guys. What are we doing over here? So, you know, we got to be. We like winning too. You know, so okay, let's take a break real quick so we can get to our first guest. Coach Mike Rice is waiting in the studio in the back room. So we're going to get ready to talk to Coach Rice, find out what's going on with our golf program coming off a big win as a team this past weekend. You guys hang in there with us. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a couple of moments.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus. I want to remind you guys, hit that thumbs up button if you would. Hit the thumbs up button whether you're watching us on YouTube. Obviously on Facebook, it's just hitting a like. And do me a favor, go ahead and share the show. Let Rattler Nation know what we got coming up as we get ready to bring on our first guest and then kind of the lineup for today's show. So go ahead and share that feed on your social media pages. So without further ado, let's bring on our head golf coach, Coach Mike Rice. Coach Rice.
How y'all doing?
Hey, we're great, sir. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing amazing. Good to be on. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. So I guess this first time we've seen you. So Happy New Year and all that good stuff. So Coach, what's the latest? Let's talk about. How are you doing? You know, we haven't had a chance to catch up. What's kind of like the off season? Well, obviously you're in season. You started it, but what was the off season? The period between the Bridgestone Invitational in November and the first meet this past weekend. What was that time period like for you and the guys?
That was a time to relax and enjoy before this semester begins. And we've been on the road already, starting out 2 weeks in a row. We leave again this weekend, and then we're going to spend spring break in Jacksonville, kind of still working on some things, trying to get better, and then hit the road again the following week. So the winter break gives me a little time to take a little break before we start the push, obviously, for SWAC championship. That's our goal. And right now that's what we're concentrating on.
That Bridgestone Invitational, if I'm not mistaken, that even came with that opportunity to work with Tiger Woods. You and a couple other guys, Jean-Pierre, got a chance to but talk a little bit about that experience and you know what it was like for you and even those other our other players to get that opportunity to meet and get a few tips. I mean, we had Jean-Pierre on this show, and I mean, Patrick was like really, some great stuff in talking about that experience with Tiger.
Yeah, he's a special young guy. We're gonna miss him next year. Obviously, y'all got a chance to talk with him and pick his brain a little bit. We're definitely gonna miss him. He's been our captain for the last 3 years and been a big part of our success. But talking about that whole experience. I mean, that's not something that those guys could dream up. That is golf now's idol, and to get a chance to spend some time with him and get a chance to talk to him and him to go through and give them advice while they're hitting balls that's an experience they'll never forget. When we found out, I wish we would have kept it a secret. They knew about it. I think it would have been even more special if they didn't know why they were going. But again, something they'll never forget. And we were fortunate to be the team that was picked to go down there, and we have a little something coming out a little later in the semester where you'll see where some they've been following us throughout the year to kind of showcase the FAMU golf team. So that was a little something that went along with what you'll see later on in the year.
Okay. Kelvin, go ahead.
Coach, I want to congratulate you on your team winning, and then you had an individual winner at your most recent competition. Talk about the competition last week versus this week. We got off to a slow start last week, the first day, and then we really rallied and had a really good second day, and then this tournament we were more consistent day one and maintained it to day two. But just kind of talk about the progression of the last 2 weeks.
I think we're still trying to figure ourselves out a little bit. We're getting better. We're working hard. Looking at and look similar golf courses to what we played. You just kind of saw first day, at the Hall of Fame, which was Eastern Kentucky's event. We just kind of struggled. Honestly, we just didn't play well. One of the things that we talked about, and we've been talking about really all year, is trying to keep the big numbers off the scorecard. And what you saw that last day was we kept the big numbers off the scorecard. And when you do that, we got a chance to play with anybody. We went through, looked at scores, and as far as like birdies in the field, I think we can play with anybody in that. If we can continue to keep the big numbers off the card, you're going to see us compete more. And that's really was the difference going into the tournament. We just won. We just didn't, the last day we didn't put a single double up. And that's what we've been talking about. As long as we can keep the big numbers off the card, I feel like, with the talent that we have, that we can compete with anybody. And, as you saw with Marcus Taylor, who, might be one of the most talented guys we've ever had on this campus, who's starting to realize how good he can be. And played very well the last 2 weeks, but really to play, and not only, the guy went out in the playoff, and for such a young guy to be so cool and calm in the playoff, I was impressed with that more than anything. He felt like he had won, before the playoff even happened, and we're excited to see where he's going to go, because this might be, what trampolines him to the next level, because the kid is different, and I think this might be what takes him there.
Good. Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, Coach, thanks for joining us this evening. But I had a question, and I know, and I'm just making a parallel with other sports, especially within our conference, that typically there's like a preseason, favorite. And I'm not a golf aficionado. I don't know if the SWAC does that, and who would, I guess, in terms of the outlook of the biggest competition that FAMU has in terms of bringing home the trophy?
They do not have preseason favorites. Everything we do is on rankings, and to be quite frank, a lot of those rankings are skewed because a lot of it is what tournaments can you get in. So it doesn't necessarily mean the best player is the lowest ranked. Sometimes it's who can get into the bigger tournaments than playing wise. The conference is pretty. It's open. I really think. I don't want to name a few teams. I think, I feel like we have a team that if we play the way we're capable of playing, I think we can take care of business. And that's really what we're focused on, where we're not worried about what the rest of the conference is doing. We even this weekend, that was all HBCU teams there. And, for us to come out in front, says a lot about this team. And, but ours is, as long as we do what we're capable of doing and we continue to work and work on the things that we feel like we need to get better at, I think at the end of the year, we'll have a good chance. I think in previous years, I think maybe we kind of looked at that more than we probably should have. Who do we have to beat? This is who we're concentrating on. This year, it's, look, let's take care of us. And as long as we're doing the things to get better, I think we have a great chance, no matter who's playing well or not. We got a pretty good team.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Coach, one of the questions that we got, we put it out there to folks to kind of see if they had any questions, and I think you may have touched on this in the last time we talked, but I'll ask anyway. From @91_smoke asks, can you ask Coach Rice about the significance of placing the putting range on campus?
Kelvin can probably can chime in on this a little bit too, as he was part of our initial thought process of having that happen. I wouldn't necessarily call it strategic. We started down there with a practice facility probably, how long ago is that, Kelvin? 7-8 years ago now?
At least.
Where it was a field that we were utilizing, even with Team 7 or 8 years ago, that had, weeds that we were hitting out of, but we used it as a resource, a facility for us. And we've just kind of built on it. Even with the putting green, it wasn't exactly what we wanted. The people building it thought we wanted it more for a target when we really wanted it to putt more on. But now that we built the driving range, it's more of a target than it is a putting green. We're talking about maybe doing some other things in the future to benefit that area down there. But I wouldn't necessarily call it strategic. We've just kind of built upon it to get it where it is. And look, we were out there tonight until 6:30, 7 o'clock, practicing. So we use it, and we'll continue to really develop that area. It's a huge recruiting tool for us to be able to bring, freshmen down there, and the freshman dorm is right there in the towers. And there's your golf practice range with lights on that, have done, helped us to get some talent here.
And I'm just curious, how does that compare to other campuses? Are other, because obviously this is when kids are doing that recruiting thing, obviously they're comparing, apples and apples and
Right.
apples and oranges, however you want to, so what does it look like? What is our setup compared to, other SWAC schools? Are we above, on par, still got work to do? What would you say?
Well, I think we always got work to do, right? Because time is changing. You got to move with time. But I'll say this: there's no other HBCU that has a driving range on their campus. You are seeing, Alabama State is one that has an indoor facility they built. I've heard some other SWAC schools are talking about doing the same, but we really were the first to do it. And because of that, and it does. I mean, you bring kids on, and they're like, "Look, shoot, this is my dorm where I'm staying. I get a chance. I can go hit balls at night or anytime I want because it's our facility, and it is huge for recruiting. I can tell you. And like I said, us continue to grow on that is only going to help the program even more. So, right now we're ahead.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Kelvin, go ahead, jump in there.
Coach, is the simulator set up, and have y'all been able to use that indoor simulator?
So the simulator is in. We have it over in Lawson Center, and we haven't used it as much as let's say that we haven't had to use it as much as we plan on using it. Weather's been good. We haven't. It was a mild winter to where we didn't miss days because of cold. I would like to put it more into play, and we plan on it, but. Another resource, we're looking at doing some things. We have a locker room that we're looking at putting a putting green down there to where the guys can practice inside, working on putting, and then doing some other things too. Again, continuing to grow the program. And the thing in any sport, you have to update with it. And look, it's a technology era, and these kids are learning how to play using it. Everybody knows Top Golf. If you don't have it, you're behind. And so, we're trying to do the same thing, make sure that we're updating to bring these kids in and at the end of the day, develop them into better players. They can't leave here the same or worse. Otherwise, we're not doing our job. So right now we're in a good place.
Coach, talk about some of your sponsors. What kind of clubs you use, gear just talk about, what you're doing with the program.
So, we've been fortunate. We've created some relationships in the last few years with a lot of companies. TaylorMade's been one that's been supporting us for the last 3 or 4 years that, quite frankly, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. They're providing these balls that you see back here. We don't pay a dime for them. And look, I can tell you that's a lot of money sitting back there that, these kids get. Gloves, hats. They take care of all that for us. And anytime we really need it, we run out, we call them up, and next thing you know, it's there. The golf bags. Bridgestone's another one that's come on to help us out. They're providing balls and hats and gloves as well, and Titleist too. So we've been fortunate to have these companies that really are supporting our program because, as we all know, our budgets aren't as big as some other programs, and so it allows us to bring in the best talent and make sure that they have the best things, the best equipment to perform at the highest level. So we are definitely thankful for them because we couldn't be successful without them for sure.
Got another in-show question here from Jeremiah Clark, who asked Coach about making mechanical adjustments during in-game play. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Making mechanical adjustments in play. So most people think that we do a lot of that, but we don't. But one of our, we work hard during the week. We do a lot of practice, and one of the things now we do get off at times on the course as a coach and my assistant coach Troy. We can make those adjustments, but our major focus is you're not going to make adjustments in play. You're not going to be able to make, if the golf swing isn't great, we don't want to make changes while we're playing. We want to figure a way to get it in the hole. That's really it. How quick can we get it in? How quick can we get to the range afterwards to fix these things? But as far as in play, we're not trying to fix things. We have what we have, but we're trying to get it in the hole. And the big part is making sure we're managing our way around the golf course. That's the biggest at our level. If you can manage your way around the golf course, you're going to beat most of the field. It's really not, talent for talent. It's who can manage their way around it. If you're fighting your golf swing, you're trying to figure out how to fix it, and you're looking for the coach to do that, we're in trouble. So it's really, let's get the work in, let's practice, let's get things right. If it isn't right when we play, then we go back to practicing. But you got to play with what you have that day.
True that. Marcus, you got another question there for Coach?
I do, and Coach, I wanted to ask, in terms of, I guess it's like a two-part question. In terms of golf, what's the biggest challenge, I guess, for the program that you've had to overcome? And I guess tied with that, I wanted to ask something loosely related to it. With some of the travails and advent of other things that have happened in other collegiate sports, such as NIL, the transfer portal, how prevalent is that within golf programs as compared to other sports programs?
So NIL, we're not seeing a lot of that in our sport yet. Now you got obviously some of your bigger programs where, you have guys that are going to be on TV. Those guys might be getting a little bit, but not really prevalent yet in our programs or in our sport really. So I don't see that. the transfer portal, I think, is a thing for every sport. Doesn't matter where you're at. I mean, we've had programs. I mean, I've known coaches that, have gone to new programs. They have done very well to make their teams better just off the portal alone. It's possible. It's a little different for us in the HBCU level because, I mean, first of all, our pool of players is a lot smaller than a PWI, and so looking at the portal, it's the same thing. You're not going to find a lot of, what we're recruiting in there. So, I mean, obviously, we're always looking. Last year, I had 3 guys transfer out that went somewhere else, so that's the first time I've ever really had to use the portal. But fortunately, fortunately, we've been successful, and those players knew who we were, and we were able to bring in 3 transfers to cover the 3 that we lost, and the 2 of them have been put straight in that are playing in the lineup now that have helped us get better. So the portal is definitely there. It's something you have to stay up on, if you're going to compete, but a little different for us. But again, I mean, I've had to use it, so it does work. Yeah. So, as far as like hurdles for us to get through, I mean, look, the FAMU golf program has been successful, since the 50s. We've been one of the programs, especially in the HBCU world, that they know FAMU golf. And so hurdle wise, I mean, the biggest for us is obviously the small, the budget, money. I mean, money will make things go around. So, but look, man, we have a lot of people that support us. We can, we have projects that need to be done. There are people that we can call to help us out. And that's been great, especially where we're talking about putting a putting green in. There are people that are supporting to help us do that. And so, I've been here long enough now to know how this thing works and how to get things done and, keep this thing rolling because, I like the success. I like, being able to compete. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to keep trying to do that. So.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You can go ahead and say it, Coach. You like winning. You like winning. We like winning. Everyone likes winning.
we do like winning, but we like winning the right way too, and I think that's important. You giving up, things that I think are right to win. I can't do that. I want to do it the right way and represent this university in the right way. So, winning's nice though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're doing it the right way. I love that.
Yes, sir.
One more question from the chat room. Miss Kenya asked the question about what's the prospects about women's golf. I mean, we know that there's a need to increase sports at our campus. We know women's sports needs to get increased in our program. What's your thoughts there, and have any whatever you can share with us, any thoughts and discussions about this subject?
It's in discussions. We'll say that. I totally agree. We've talked about it for years on how to add it. It's not do we know there's something that we need? Yes. We got to find a way to make that happen. We've lost a lot of talent at FAMU over the years. Women golfers to other HBCUs that would have loved to be here. So I don't think it would be hard to compete quick. I think it'd be easy to recruit young women to this university. Again, it's a conversation that we're having. We gotta find a way to make these things happen. Again, look, money makes things happen. Yeah. So we need Rattler Nation to give money is what we need.
All right, there it is. There it is, Coach.
Put the challenge out there to us, Coach. We can handle it.
Exactly. What do we need? What do we need? What does that look like?
That's a good question. Obviously, you're talking scholarships and budget, and those that's what makes it happen, as y'all know. I mean, if we can find a way to budget it, I think it wouldn't be a hard yes to say.
How many players on the women's side? Is it the same as the men scholarship wise?
No, women are 6, men are 4.5.
Okay.
So it is a little different.
All right. Okay. All right, Coach. Let's see. This upcoming weekend, again, we are. I got the schedule pulled up. It's the at Daytona Beach Intercollegiate. I guess is Stetson the host on that.
Correct. Stetson will be hosting.
Okay, and that's Monday on March 4th. So it's just a one day. I know usually sometimes you guys play like a Monday. Okay, so Monday and Tuesday.
Right. We'll play 36 Monday and 18 on Tuesday. So that 54 holes was correct.
All right. So again, 54. If you want to make a nice donation, go to the Rattler Athletic Fund. We'll put the QR code up a little bit later. $54. That'll be a nice number to donate to the FAMU golf program. Or, hey, it always helps. 1887.
Tournament champion golf program.
Tournament champion.
Just won a tournament.
Exactly.
Just won that battle. That's the second of the year, which is good. We won one last semester.
Yeah.
And then second one, obviously, our goal is at the end. We're focused on SWAC, so that's the goal at the end of the year.
Amen. All right, Coach. Any other shout outs, any other information you want to share with us before we wrap up our time with you tonight?
No, just again, keep an eye out for the golf team. I think you're going to see some special stuff at the end of the year, and again, keep supporting Rattler Nation because we definitely need y'all.
You got any merchandise for sale?
You see some back here, right?
What you selling back there, Coach? How do we get a hold of some of that merch? Come on now, you're holding out on us.
We got a little extra here and there.
I'll get with you, Coach.
All right.
I've been hearing that every week we talk to a coach. I ain't got no gear yet. I got to make a trip to Tallahassee. Kelvin, I'm just going to come to your house because I've been all the gears at Kelvin's house. I'm just come by Kelvin's house. I'm going to go shopping at Kelvin's house.
Everybody knows Kelvin's the best dressed FAMU and around, period.
Hey, didn't you get a gel and glaze hat?
I that's why I said I got to come to Tallahassee for it. So here it is. All right. Hey, Coach, good luck. I appreciate you coming on. Good luck the rest of the season. I know we'll check in. And, as always, anytime you got something you want us to promote, all you got to do is let Kelvin know or hit us up, and we'll do what we need to do to help support it and push that forward for you, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Well,
yes,
let me just say real quick, thank you, Coach. You appreciate it. Rattler Nation appreciate it. I appreciate you for all you do for our program, man, your commitment to it and keeping up those standards in a high level, man. So anything we can do, we will continue to promote on this platform.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, sir. Coach Mike Rice, appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good to have Coach on with us. Good stuff. Just to recap and let everybody know, of course, again, the Asst HBCU Golf Championship in Weston, Florida was this past weekend, or actually this past week, Monday and Tuesday, a 54-hole event. The Rattlers finished in first place ahead of North Carolina Central, North Carolina A&T, Chicago State, Alabama State, and Alabama A&M.
Alabama.
Exactly. Alabama just owning them. Marcus Taylor, the redshirt senior, led the way for FAMU, shot a 212. That's a -4, shot under par in all 3 days to lead the team. He had the best overall performance. Patrick Jean-Pierre, who we had on the show, friend of the program we had on a couple months ago, he finished in 5th, just +1 over par. So let's keep the golf programs, guys. Looking at the schedule here, they've got this tournament and then 2 more tournaments before the SWAC championship on April 17th. It says location TBA, so I'm not really sure if we've heard any news on where it's going to be, but, just thought I'd put that out there. All right, Marcus, you got a score update from the baseball before we go to break here? Any score updates you want to share? I saw somebody put something in the chat.
Yeah, we're down 4-0 in the bottom of the fourth, and they're threatening. They've got a man on third with no outs.
Yikes. All right.
So we gave up 3 in the second inning and 1 in the third.
Well, similar to the other day we played them. We got down 3. Yeah, we got down 3 or 4 runs and came back to make it a 1-run game. So we put a little dent in it. So hopefully we can the bats can get going as well later today. All right, let's take a break. Coming up on the other side of our commercial break, Gerald Huggins II will be coming on, and of course, drafthbcuplayers.com is the site. At drafthbcu is the Twitter handle or X handle. And we're going to talk to him about the Legacy Bowl, our FAMU guys, and a little bit more here. So hang in there with us for this short break. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Bryan, Kelvin, and Marcus here. Anything happening during the break, Marcus? Any more runs we give up?
Yeah, we gave up one more. Okay. So it's 5-0. Still batting. We do have one out, and there's a man on second.
All right.
So we're working through some tough times, and we're on our second pitcher.
All right, good deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I slip something in really quick?
Yeah.
Maybe this is new info for me. I don't know if it's new for everybody, but FBSschedules.com just put out, I guess, a TV schedule, and the only one listed is our game against Norfolk State, 7:30 p.m., August 24th. In Atlanta on ABC.
Oh,
so I don't know.
They're going to do it on ABC again, huh?
That's what, according to FBSschedules.com.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first time I had actually seen a start time, and I figured it was either going to be on one of the networks. I think it was on ABC last year with Jackson State and South Carolina State. But this is the first time I've seen something of that nature to kind of give a definitive start time and network.
All right. Of course, this past weekend, Rattlers were in New Orleans, Louisiana, for the third annual HBCU Legacy Bowl. There you can see our Rattlers right there with Black College Football Hall of Famer himself, Greg Coleman. I think we also had, who else was in that? Who else is in that photo? Is that we had a
Xavier Smith?
Xavier Smith's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Xavier Smith. I didn't know he was on there, but yeah, you can see, of course, he was the MVP of last year's game. You can also see Deacon Jones, I guess you could say co-player of the year, Mr. Jeremy Musa. He was recognized and given that award prior to the actual game. Let's bring on our guest so we can talk about that game and the players that were a part of it. There he is right there himself, Mr. Gerald Huggins, of course, of drafthbcuplayers.com, at drafthbcu. You can find them on X, probably even on Instagram too, I would imagine. Gerald, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well, man. Handling one of my many jobs. I'm currently at the CIAA tournament doing my SID work for Lincoln University, but our game was supposed to start at 8:50. That wasn't going to happen. So, so I have some time. So I appreciate y'all for bringing me on, most definitely.
Well, hey, look, we're gonna make you do some double duty here real quick because look, I know the big upset for me today is Winston-Salem State's men losing this morning. Have there been any other upsets that have happened so far today at the CIAA?
Well, every team that Bluefield has played and St. August played, people consider that an upset. They say they're playing with people are saying they're playing with house money. I believe, listen, tournament time, I love it because the rankings don't matter. It's really about who gets hot at the right time. So I'm just going to say for Lincoln, we have the roster to be able to make a run. You know, it's just, you just never know. But you got to love the CIAA. For those who've never been, I recommend it. It's the best basketball tournament in the country, hands down, all levels of college basketball.
See, I've got to get up there. I've got to make. Unfortunately, I get caught up in my own tournament with the school I'm at, so it's hard for me to get there. I wish I could break away. Maybe you know. But what are usually the attendance numbers like? Because I don't usually see that published. What would you estimate? Maybe over the course of the whole tournament, the 4 or 5 days.
I will say it really depends on the team that's in it. Now that we're in Baltimore. It'll be great for a team from up north, the Maryland area, to get to the championship game. That's where you see most of your ticket sales. But I will say, Winston being good has helped because we know their fans will travel. Union, when they had their run, there was a lot of fans coming from Richmond. So I would say, you'll get about 20,000, 30, maybe 40 more. Most of it is like towards the end, maybe like we all know Thursday through Saturday is where the fun happens. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is cool, but Thursday through you got to really make it to Thursday to Saturday. That's where most of your fans will be able to get off of work and stuff like that. So it's nothing like it. I'm telling you, like right now it's pretty full. I mean, it's Bowie versus Fayetteville. Fayetteville travels pretty well, and Bowie's like 30 minutes from a CFG arena, so it works out.
Yeah, and Fayetteville, is it the women or the? I know the women are dominant right now. That's a top team. Is it the women's game?
No, it's the men's game. Men's play.
Okay.
They're actually up by 14 right now with 7 minutes left in the game.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Let's get to some of this football talk. HBCU Legacy Bowl happened. Now we're gonna jump right into the hot topic. The hot headline of the weekend. Was the injury. Unfortunately, not the play, not the helmets, but it was the injury to Davius Richard in the contest. Got hurt in the first drive. We're not going to talk about the stuff after. Let's just talk about that. That's been juicy. I've been loving that. But let's just talk about the actual play. You were one of the people who said, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said you didn't think that Richard should have played in this game. Richard got hurt. The report is 4 to 6 months. Apparently, no. Okay, so clarify what is going on with let's start with what happened let's start with your comments. What happened, and then post.
So listen, I'm all for the HBCU Legacy Bowl. I wanted to make that very clear. But I also, I scout the guys, and I talk to personnel guys in the different leagues, and sometimes it's a situation where not sometimes a lot of the time now these top players after they have a good couple practices they don't compete in the game. Their agents tell them, oh, you had a good practice, you're good. Like Jarvion Howard, he practiced one day and he left. After he had a really good combine. So for him, I'm assuming for him and his agents, they were like, well, you had about 20 interviews with NFL personnel. You pretty much were one of the best, if not the best combine work out there. You had a good practice your first day. Go get ready for pro day. Go home. So for me, I think I didn't think the Legacy Bowl from a stock point of view would have helped Davius Richard. He already played in the Hula Bowl, even though I think they should have gave him some more reps, during the game. I was there throughout the week, and he got better every single day for the 3 practices that they were there. I noticed Davis probably interviewed with almost every NFL team. I know he's up in the 20s. So it's like, we know we're going to get from Davius Richard. We saw him go against Power 5 competition on the field. I think it was like his sophomore year. I think he played Marshall, and now we saw him play against UCLA. I know the UCLA game didn't go as planned. So he had a good recoup when he went against the FBS players in the Hula Bowl. So for me personally, I just didn't see how it would have helped him to play in the game. Definitely if you were at the practices, you would know that he was clear cut. It was him and then everybody else. And I know what podcast I'm on, and I know I get it, but I got to be truthful. It was, the most pro ready quarterback at those practices was Davius Richard. That's the one that he was really on the line of 7th round PFA before the injury. I think he's still a PFA, high PFA, like right after the draft is done, he gets a call PFA. So for me, he was in line to throw at pro day. That's pretty much what I was just hoping for. But end of the day, the game has significance. You want to see your best players play. Things happen. People could say what they want about the play call and this, that, and the third. It's football, man. He could have been standing in the pocket and the offensive lineman could have missed the block and he could have got hit. It is what it is. So to erase all that, he might as just well have not played. But that's what I wanted him to do. But end of the day, he's a competitor. Him and his agency, they had their conversation. And they made a decision. He's not upset about it. He's very thankful for the opportunity. He's moved on. He's ready. He's getting prepared. And the 4 to 6 month thing, I know that page posted it. Don't listen. They didn't have a conversation with the agent. So I know, people want to be first, not right, but just ignore that. Until you hear anything from his agent or the NFL, then I'll just be like, that's why I tweeted, he's doing just fine, because he is doing just fine.
So is there what was the specific injury, or is that even being put out there?
I can't disclose that.
Okay,
but,
that's fine.
It's just his ankle. I can't say exactly what happened to the ankle, but his ankle. He was already in the end zone, and the defender grabs his ankle and twists it. And then Bubba Adams and McHaney from Prairie View, routinely tackle him and fall on him. If the kid didn't grab his ankle, Davis would be fine. But the kid grabbed his ankle and twisted it, so the ankle locked into the ground. Then you have 220-pound guys falling on you. It's sad. It was a sad case. You hate that for the young man, but that just boils down to some people just got to know how to play in certain situations. It's an all-star game. You're on the ground already. Don't reach for the guy's ankle in the end zone. You lost. But when you have guys that are trying to fight to get into camp, they start doing things that they normally wouldn't do or probably shouldn't do because they want to show that, the effort, the extra effort, But, it's just, you just got to be careful sometimes. It's a learning lesson for everybody.
That's a good point. It's like in basketball trying to foul somebody on a breakaway, and it's like you don't need to foul him on a breakaway dunk. Let him go ahead and dunk, and everybody be safe and get out of there.
He's in the end zone. Leave him alone. It's it. So that's all.
Okay. Okay. quarterback-wise, while we're talking about quarterbacks, Jeremy Musa, I guess HBCU Player of the Year, Deacon Jones Trophy winner. How would you evaluate his performance, maybe just in what you saw from Jeremy? What's your projection for Jeremy? Does he need to do more at his pro day, et cetera, et cetera? Thoughts there?
So I was at the HBCU Combine. He did receive interviews from teams. I can't remember all the teams at the top of my head, but I think it was a pretty good number of teams that were interested in him because, he's an FBS transfer. You want to give him a shot. He has a size, 6'2". I think they gave him about 220 pounds, something like that, 220, 230, one of those. He has a good arm. It looks really good when it comes out. My only issue with Musa has been consistent with when it comes to any type of interior pressure, the feet start, the technique just goes. The feet start getting a little happy, and then it leads to turnovers. It leads to bad throws. It leads to, like, sometimes the ball you just don't know. Sometimes it'll sail high or sometimes end up in the dirt. But when he's comfortable and the timing and the rhythm is there and you have a solid, like a run game is established and he could be able to really, slice up in between the hashes, like he takes advantage of linebackers very well. I will say, like, if he has a number 3 receiver or a slot guy and he knows he has a matchup on that linebacker, he's eating that up every time. So I will give him that. His intermediate throwing in between the hashes is very good. The deep ball is nice. He knows how to put touch on it. I would like a little more velocity on the outbreaking routes, the deep outbreaking routes, like the comebacks and the out routes. But some quarterbacks, you just have to put them in a situation where they just make the least amount of mistakes possible. His arm is not going to lead you to the promised land. But in a perfect situation with a good running game, a solid defense, and receivers that can catch the rock, because believe it or not, FAMU did deal with some drops this year as well. So I will give him some. I'll give him some credit there. He did put the ball where it's supposed to be on a few occasions, but it was dropped. But if he's in a situation where he has short-handed receivers, a solid running game, then he could be serviceable. But right now, for me personally, just due to everything else, due to everything else, I put it all together. I just finished this report actually yesterday. I just think the arm talent is there, the accuracy could grow, but it's just the maneuverability in the pocket, definitely within the interior of the pocket. If things aren't just going his way, you just start to see the lack of technique, and it kills me. So I have him right now as like a second-tier league adequate starter. So I could see him in the UFL, CFL as a starter. And then, if you refine some parts of his game, then you may be able to see him make into make a practice squad or something like that. I do think he will get a shot in camp, though, because you just want to give a guy a shot. So ideally, he'll be a free agent pickup. They'll run him through mini camp, run him through training camp, see if there's something they like. And, we'll see what happens from there. But do I think he could be a professional football player on a different level, IFL, AFL, UFL, something like that? Sure. But the NFL at this current moment, no. But he does have some upside. It's just that, certain things and definitely you're not mobile. It kind of hurts. I mean, we know he wasn't going to be the fastest guy. I would have loved to see him run at the combine because I don't think FAMU will have 31 NFL teams and two GMs at their pro day. I could be wrong. But ideally, if you have the opportunity to do something in front of 31, like Omar Khan was there from the Steelers. You run in front of Omar Khan.
Okay.
You just do it. I mean, it may not, we know you're not fast, but just give us something. You know what I mean? So there were guys, for him, I would just think, show us that you have some ability to be a playmaker or be creative with your feet, be creative off script. Like everything can't be on script all the time, but it's definitely some ups and downs. It's really not, you don't know what you're going to get, with Musa sometimes. You're just going to get either wow or you're going to get wow. It's no in between, but doesn't make him a bad player. There's just some things he has to work on. A lot of that thing I think might be up top more than just physical ability, honestly.
I got another thought on that, but I want to give Kelvin and Marcus a chance. Go ahead, jump in there, Marcus or Kelvin. Marcus, go ahead, jump in there first. I'll give it to you.
All right, I was going to ask. Thank you for coming on, but I was going to ask you, out of the week of practice in the game, who was the best player that you saw? Who had the highest evaluation from your perspective?
Man,
give a top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Whew. Based on this week, the week Tyreek Stewart was like hands down the best trench guy there. So he's my number one. I was thoroughly impressed from what I saw from the running back from Texas Southern.
Owens.
No, not Ladarius Owens.
No, Ja'Cory Howard. I know.
From he went to Alcorn,
from,
right?
No, that's Jarvion. Ja'Cory Howard is the big back from Texas Southern, the one that came in behind. I was talking to Emory Hunt. I don't know if y'all know what Emory Hunt is. I was talking to him. Even he was just like, man, like I didn't see that. The out the backfield stuff was really good. Wow. I was thoroughly. I did not see that on film. So I had so sometimes you just got to go back and like, okay, they didn't throw him the ball a lot, so maybe this was here, but they didn't need him for that. They just needed him to be a change of pace guy for Ladarius. So that's fine. So I did like what I saw from him. John, if I combine the combine and the week of practice, John Huggins from Jackson State, he showed a bit capability to be a potential box safety, kind of that will linebacker, similar to Marquise Bell. That's the new thing. They want versatility, and they want these 6'1", 6'2", 215-ish pound strong safety will linebacker mixes. So I think he came out in the right time because Marquise Bell made it look really good. So I think Marquise really has become like the standard for like, well, not only just defensive backs, but defenders move. Like you have to be versatile like him. And like if you're undersized, you have to be instinctual, you have to be strong, you have to be fast. And well, Marquise is pretty much all those. So that worked out. Who else really? Man, this kid said, well, Davis Richard, of course, he was lights out the whole week. I mean, that was Jablonski Green Jr. from South Carolina State. He lost some weight. He got some weight down, and he looks just as quick as he did. Looks like he looks similar to his junior year. It was good to see that. And I will say this after really watching it, I like your boy Young. I like Kamari Young. He, on film, it was things I like, but seeing it in person, I saw a Celebration Bowl, and then I saw it again. I said, okay. My only thing is I don't know where to put him. He's not an inline guy because he's like 6. They gave him 6'1" and 3/4. He's 6'2". So they gave him 6'2", 238 pounds. That's really good size for me.
Yeah.
So that's about 6'2", 240 at tight end. So now it's like, okay, are you an inline guy? He's a willing blocker. Yeah. He's a good blocker. That's different, but he's willing. So I could take a willing guy. We just got to clean up technique and just get his strength down. But I don't think he didn't lose many reps against the linebackers and safeties and DBs when they came to one-on-ones and stuff like that. And he just looked he thoroughly impressed me. I just don't know where to put him. I'm still figuring out my report. I think I will make him more of a H, potential fullback, kind of receiver mismatch. You just never know. But a guy like that, he's really big on. He's a run after catch guy anyway. Yep. So, and he uses body well to create separation. I like how he leans into defenders and kind of breaks out because I think he ran like a 4.8. So he's not going to blow you away, but he does have, pretty adequate seam speed, and he's, really reliable in his zone because, that's what Musa like to eat up defenses anyway. So that works out. So I will say Kamari had a really, I had to really look at the tape. I'm still watching it and evaluating, but I will say he stood out offensive weapon wise. I mean, Marcus had a solid week as well. Scouts were clamoring over him. Shareed, he had some foot issues, so he couldn't really perform how he wanted to, which is sad. I really wanted to see him perform. I think it was like a blister thing. It was tough. I think who else? So Eric Smith. So since we're here, Eric Smith, they had him at they put him at safety a couple times. So the kid Nickel Roby Coleman, they played for the Rams, that hit that Saints receiver, and it was supposed to be a personal foul in the playoffs a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Charles Davis said this. He was like, "That's exactly who he is. That's his comp right there." I was like,
Wow.
I started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, so I asked Eric, so what does he walk around? Eric said he plays around 180. Okay, that's cool because he weighed in at 169. So automatically you see 169 at 5'7", 5'8", you're like, but he's tough, he's scrappy, and he has solid speed, so he does have range. So I can see the free safety thing. But I think long term he's gonna have to probably play some more nickel. Sorry, you're 5'8", 180. It's not a short guys league. It's very rare. They want those big, long defensive backs now, like the kid from Alabama State. This kid from Grambling, by the way, is way bigger in person. The kid, Cedric Anderson, he's huge. He's not a corner, though. He's a safety, but he's huge. He's legit 82-inch wingspan is insane for someone that's 6'3". So it's a lot of kids I could really go over, but those were the ones that stood out to me mainly off the top of my head. I'm gonna do an article about a little wrap up at some point, but I will say from FAMU wise, Kamari had the best week. Isaiah didn't hurt himself. I don't think he made himself. He separated himself from everybody else, but he didn't hurt himself, so that's not a bad thing. But I think Kamari, he had people thinking okay, what could we do with this guy? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. I just don't know what to do with Kamari at the moment. But
right.
I would bring him into my camp for sure, without a doubt.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Kelvin.
By the way, I've been on that same thing. With Kamari, I said if he gets the opportunity, I really believe he can make a squad because he's reliable with his hands too. But what my question is, and someone else brought this up, considering the controversy with the play call and so forth, there was a suggestion about who should coach those players in those games. And I'm just wondering, do you have a position on that?
Okay. So, to make this as simple and plain as possible, due to the timing of the game, there will never be NFL personnel coaching that game. That's either their downtime or they're in meetings. So it's just going to be hard. I would like for it to be more NFL personnel coaching to help, just the little things like, hey, it's All-Star game. Let's not grab a guy's ankle. Just, you're not trying to do a kill shot. If you miss, you miss. It's on you, For the most part, the games are cool. The practices are way more important. Granted, I do think HBCU coaches deserve a shot to coach in the game. Now, could there be some sort of mentorship? I love it, but end of the day, the timing is off. So it's just, I think that's the slot, and it's a TV aspect to it. So that's what I had to learn. There's a reason why they're in that slot in February because, well, the NFL is kind of backing it, NFL Network. So hey, you're going to tell NFL Network, hey, we have also a Legacy Bowl competing with a playoff game on a Saturday in January. Not going to happen. So unless the game gets moved earlier, I don't foresee any NFL coaching personnel being able to assist.
Okay. Gerald, I want to get you out of here with one final question. And again, remind you, everybody, make sure to go check out drafthbcuplayers.com where you can read Gerald's summaries and his reports. Make sure you're following him on X. Are you on Instagram at the same handle as well, at DraftHBCU? Okay. Yeah. One quick thought about Pro Day and how guys go from what they did at the Legacy Bowl, or maybe the guys who didn't go, to Pro Day. And I heard Coach Colsey say today that FAMU might have more guys at their Pro Day than the University of Florida, which I'm like, okay, that perked my ears up. I'm like, whoa, really? So you don't have to comment on that per se, but just if you want to comment on just what guys should be looking to do or what guys will get out of their Pro Day, how does that help in the whole process?
Well, for our guys, the Pro Day is very important. The biggest thing is the school going to be able to build enough? Have they built enough connections to be able to bring scouts? And then do they have enough players that are worthy of being, high PFA to, late round draft picks to bring the scouts there? Luckily for FAMU, they have a lot of guys that are very intriguing. Definitely after watching the practices and stuff like that. You are intrigued by Isaiah Major. I mean, you 6'1", 225, 230, played safety before. He could line up in the nickel. I mean, you want to possibly bring that to camp. So you want to see it one more time. And plus, he didn't run. So for a lot of guys like Marcus Riley that ran a 4.5, I feel like he's faster than that. So let's hope for his pro day he is in that 4.4 range, but I don't think that diminishes anything that people have seen on film. His film is fine. His strong hands are there. Shareed, he didn't get opportunity to run. He didn't do the HBCU combine. He didn't really get to perform at the Legacy Bowl. So for him, that will be huge at pro day. Musa, he didn't run. If he doesn't run his pro day either, then I don't know what to say. I would hope he does, but maybe he just, no, Riley did not run a 4.3. I trust me. I thought he did too, but he didn't. But so guys that didn't get a chance to perform at the Legacy Bowl and the combine, those guys get an opportunity to get in front of scouts. It just really depends on how many scouts are going to be there. I believe FAM should have a good amount. I don't think they'll get 31 or 32, but if they could get at least 10 to 15, that's pretty good for a HBCU. That's actually really good. Now, I mean, trying to think like Kamari, I think he could run a better time. I first see Shareed running in that 4.4, 4.5 range. Can Eric run faster than the 4.3-2 that he ran? Oof, I mean, God, if he does, you got to bring him on, just at least be his core special teams guy. So ideally, the pro day for these guys, definitely at FAMU, will just be about, hey, I didn't get an opportunity at the combine. Let me show you what I got. Or I didn't perform as well as I wanted to, so let me show you what I got.
Okay. Gerald, maybe we can get you. I think the pro day is scheduled for March 20th, if I recall hearing today. So maybe we can a little bit closer towards the draft, late March, have you back in, and maybe we can talk about some of the draft or about the pro day summary and just some things that you've heard between Legacy Bowl and the pro day, and maybe project out where some of these guys go. And then, of course, obviously, you'll probably have all your comps and all your evaluations done, so we can even go over that. How's that sound?
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, I'll be done. I just CIAA, I had to take a pause, but I'll be right back on as soon as Sunday comes. I'll be right back on.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So hey, appreciate you coming in and joining us tonight, Gerald. Make sure you're following Gerald. DraftHBCUplayers.com at DraftHBCU is where you can find him on X and Instagram. All right. Did I miss any plugs there, Gerald?
Oh, no, you're good to go, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, man. Hey, good luck to your team at the CIAA. And, man, I'll be looking for some up. Got any idea? Got an upset for me? Give me another upset that I can look forward to for tomorrow. Something I can work on for tomorrow. Any thoughts?
I wouldn't call it an upset, but I guess I can make a bold suggestion opinion. Lincoln should make a run at this. Lincoln should finish the job this year, and that's not because I work there, but they have everything they need to make a run. But Elizabeth City's tough, so it's going to be it's tough. But I think they have the shot to make a run for sure.
Okay, all right, that's good. Sounds good to me, man. All right, hey, thanks for your time. Good luck tonight, and we appreciate you. All right,
no problem, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Thank you, Gerald. Thanks.
All right. Hey, good stuff. Well, hey, we lots of stuff, lots of good info there. We might be able to get into talking a little bit about that with our next guest coming up. Excuse me, right after this break, we're going to talk to assistant head football coach and the offensive coordinator, Coach Joe Henry himself, right after this very short break right here on the ONG Strike Zone. Appreciate you guys sending in your questions and thoughts. You still got time if you want. Feel free to drop them in the chat room. if you will. All right, let's take that short break. We'll be back right after these words.
We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, Gary Gray from Fairly Odd Parents, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, the Sci-Fi Sisters, and from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager, Tim Russ.
Hi, I'm Tim Russ. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for the Urban NerdCon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone con. I'll see you there. Live long and prosper.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone's con. See you there.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone, and there you can see him, guest and friend of the program, none other than Coach Joe Henry, assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. Congratulations, Coach, on the promotion, and welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone.
Bryan, I appreciate that. I'm excited to be here. I feel like we have a good time. I don't know about y'all, but I enjoy it every time I come.
Absolutely, Coach.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, hey, first off, the great news, the promotion, you're moving up. Congratulations. Talk a little bit about going through the process of that and just your thoughts.
Thoughts. First off, very, very grateful to Coach Colsey. Very grateful to AD Sykes, President Robinson, Coach Simmons for giving me, the opportunity to come back a second time. I think it speaks a world of Coach Simmons, the fact that he brought me here with him from Prairie View. I was here for about a year and a half, a season, a full season, and then an off season in the spring. Gave me the opportunity to leave to go coach in the SEC for 3 seasons: Missouri in 19, Arkansas in 20. LSU in 21, and then after the 21 season, my phone's ringing, and Coach Simmons wants me to come back. So, not every college football coach is gracious enough to allow you to go off, grow, venture out, spread your wings, and then willing to bring you back. So, I'm glad that he gave me that opportunity. But I'm fired up about being able to work with Coach Colsey. He's done a phenomenal job in his leadership role already, and we're excited to get spring cracking here in less than a week.
Yes, indeed. As you can see, a lot of congratulations from Rattler Nation in the chat room. Kenya Sykes, I'm sure in a lot of places you are known as Grace's husband, Coach. So we keep it 100 around here, Coach.
Got to, and I know my place.
Love it. Mrs. Henry, great follow on Twitter as well. Big fan. We appreciate her for following the show as well. Okay, so the duties now being the assistant head coach and the OC. What does that entail for you compared to what you were, which was offensive coordinator / offensive line coach?
Yes, sir. So the offensive line tag, that thing don't change. Those big boys, those are still my guys.
Still yours. Okay, gotcha.
We still got our hand in the dirt, and we're still doing all the blue collar work from inside out. So that piece won't change. I think the biggest change for us on the offensive side of the ball, and me specifically, is going to be that when Coach Simmons was here, he's an offensive-minded head football coach. And so now once Coach Simmons left, he's gone on. Coach Colsey is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. I'm the leader on our side of the ball, whereas Coach Simmons and I, we're sounding boards for each other. We were able to bounce ideas back and forth. I have on his on the current staff, I've been with Coach Simmons longer than anybody had. He was very diligent and very intentional, as was I in my leadership role as the offensive coordinator, about training myself for this day and preparing for the moment. I have a coffee mug that I drink out of every single day. And on it in big, bold white letters, it says "like a boss." And it's twofold for me. One, shout out to Rick Ross. And then two is it's a mindset. And that is that you are working for the job that you aspire to have. You're working for the job that is not the one today, but the one that you are aiming for, the one that is a step above. So it's just a subtle reminder for me that every day I step foot in the office I need to be approaching this thing as if I am fill in the blank. And that is always one step above where you are today. I talked about that intentional preparation, and that is, when you get in that chair, that can't be the first time that you think about these things that you're going to be in charge of. Coach Simmons and I worked hand in hand in the game planning process. And that goes both run game and pass game. We've had a lot of open and honest conversations, a lot of dialogue about, what that looks like for me moving forward. And, whether I got an opportunity to work out from under Coach Simmons, whether it's here at FAMU or whether it was elsewhere, because that's a reality in college football. And so he was very intentional about helping prepare me for those moments. You got to put yourself in those shoes. You got to put yourself in those situations. You have to think through those issues. Any type of problem comes up, you got to be solution oriented. I think that's a really big part of coaching. And so, any issue that we had, I would go to Coach Simmons and, hey, Coach, here's the problem. Here's two possible solutions. These are things that I've thought about, or, it's not going to work if we do this. We got told no. What's next? Now what? So I've already put myself in those situations and in that position consistently over the course of my career. So for me, this is just the next stepping stone. Maybe it's a little bit more in the limelight, so to speak, than things have been in the past. But that's not a challenge that is unwelcome. And I feel confident and that I have my career to this point. This is my 15th season to coach. So it's been a long time coming. I know I got the bald head. I look young, baby face. But I've been in it for a while now, and so I'm prepared for this moment.
Nice. Well said. I like that mindset, like a boss. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, I know you still filling out a position or two on that side of the ball, particularly quarterback. See that. Everybody wants to know what's happening with the quarterback. So just count on. I know you can't say exactly yet, but right. Where are you in the process of getting a quarterback coach?
So the process went like this, and Coach Colsey spearheaded it. He gave me some autonomy to be able to, handle things on our side of the ball in the way that we all see fit. We've spent a lot of time as an offensive staff compiling names, gathering qualified candidates, vetting those people. I mean, my text messages, my emails, the DMs, they were blowing up with resumes, recommendations. Hey, I got a guy for you. So we had to sort through it and navigate through that whole process. And it's not easy because there are a lot of people that you know and trust that have a guy that, hey, listen, I've worked with this guy. He's the man. Well, we had to be able to whittle that down. We ended up interviewing a number of candidates, which is time consuming. You got to major shout out to any operations people because just navigating the logistics of getting on a Zoom call with our whole staff. We got Coach Colsey. We had people, representatives from the defensive side of the ball. Those coaches are still working in their full-time positions. Some of them are in different time zones. Like there were a lot of moving parts, and a lot of things went into, making sure that over the course of the week that we were interviewing people, that process moved smoothly. It did. We are extremely confident. We're moving forward with that. Rattler Nation, I think you'll be impressed. I think you'll be excited with our quarterback's coaching hire.
Okay, Coach, and to piggyback off that, what are we trying to do in terms of camp? Camp is getting ready to start from an offensive standpoint.
Yes, sir.
What are you looking to put in? What do you want to accomplish? And what would be different, I guess, with you having a more prominent role now on that side of the ball?
Yes, sir. So, and we talked about this briefly at 220 earlier today. Our process is pretty standard. You get done with the season, and then we do this deep dive into scouting ourselves. And whether we're looking at situations, we're looking at our different run schemes, we're looking at our different pass concepts, we're evaluating personnel, we're evaluating decision making, and we're evaluating coaching points and teaching styles. Nothing is exempt from going under the microscope. So we played the Celebration Bowl. We won the Celebration Bowl on December 16th through the month of December, all of January. Now here we are. We got a bonus day in February. So we get one more day to study, ourselves. That is our process, and it's proven tried and true. I'm a firm believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, there are things that we do really well. We're going to keep doing those things. There are some things that we've identified that we need to improve on, or things that, for us, it's going to be a lot about details, and which means as coaches, that puts the burden on us to make sure that we're teaching as well as it can possibly be taught. Our coaches, myself included, we've made a bunch of phone calls. We have we've done our research. We have been very intentional about improving our process and making sure that the way that we're coaching our young men, the teaching points that we give them, the standards that we set, we're making sure that all of those are on point because we understand, we know the situation that we're in. We're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. There's a big target on our back. And so we got to make sure that we're doing everything in our power as coaches and as players alike to make sure that gap we're looking at is not only maintained, not only sustained, but we're trying to widen that gap through spring ball.
Okay. All right.
Marcus, go ahead there.
Good evening, Coach. I wanted to ask, and you detailed it a little bit earlier, with your playing experience in the SEC and then having gone on a three-year venture with three different SEC teams, to what degree or how do you balance the offensive style that you've learned under Coach Simmons and your personal playing experience and coaching experience in the SEC, and what that convergence looks like? So you're going to the 2024 Rattler. I'm not asking for any schemes or any plays or anything like that, but I'm just curious how much of an influence. And I say that once just because in one of our preseason reviews, I think it was last year, maybe 2022 or 2023, 2022 when you first came back.
Yes, sir.
We kind of scouted, okay, what was the run game like at the stops that you had made before coming back to FAMU, and also the offensive line productivity. So it kind of get us prepared for you coming back in this role.
Right. So big smile comes over my face when you ask that question, because that's part of the fun part. And that is Kendall Browse is a name that's recognizable around college football. He's led the FBS in scoring offense. He's produced Heisman Trophy winners in Robert Griffin III. So he does tempo better than anybody else in the country. So I'm able to pull that from my time with Kendall Browse. We have, I played and then I cut my teeth as a young coach under Bobby Petrino. He's known for his play calling prowess. He's known for explosive football, scoring consistently upwards of 32, 35, 37 points a game in the SEC, which is the toughest defensive league in the country. So, I'm able to take things that I learned as a player and as a coach with him. Our offensive coordinator at Mizzou is Derek Dooley. Our offensive coordinator at LSU was Jake Peets, and we had a very similar system to what they ran in 2019 when Joe Burrow was a quarterback and Joe Brady and Steve Ensminger were dialing it up, scoring 1 million points in a football game. So the fun part is I've had the opportunity to experience those. I've been inside the machine. I know what it takes. I know the rules of this particular scheme. And you know what? That'll fit up really well with our personnel. So let's incorporate that. So I'm able to pick, choose, and be very selective about incorporating elements of each one of those coaches' repertoires and kind of owning it and making our own. In addition, we have the way that we kind of systematically organize our offense. That was already in place. Coach Simmons has been working on that, and it's crazy because when he and I were together in 2015, his first head coaching job at Prairie View A&M, I was the tight ends coach there. And so on that inaugural staff, we led FCS in scoring offense. I think we finished 5th or 6th in yards per game. So we were averaging just under 45 points a game. The way that offense looked that year has just changed a little bit each year to the point where it's been through this metamorphosis that we don't even have but a couple of the same play calls as that year. So we tweak it and change it and mold it and fashion it a little bit each season. After the spring, we'll go through that same process of evaluating ourselves. And you know, there will be some plays that we'll run this spring. You know what? It looked good on the board, but it's not the best thing that we can do. So you know what? We don't need it. So we'll scrap some of those things. They don't go away forever. They just go back into the catalog, and you know, we'll keep them in the back of our minds, and maybe we'll be ready for it sometime in the future. But that's one of the most enjoyable things. That's one of the most fun, I guess, aspects of being a coordinator is being able to pull from all those different pieces and find things that marry up with each other, that complement each other, that fit the skill set of the players you have. You know, as we're meeting with the offensive staff, you know, it's cool. Coach Wyndham, for example, he just got done coaching in the Senior Bowl. We were on the board today. We were talking about one of our red zone passing concepts. So he whips out his iPad, scrolls through, and he's like, well, this is what we did at Senior Bowl. So you know what? We're able to rely on his experience. Coach AC's coached big time ball. You know, we've got coaches on our staff that have very, very credible experience. That, you know, they've had success with these schemes, and it's cool because, you know, maybe he did it under this head coach. This guy did the same thing under that head coach. We called it something different. So we just go through these dialogues to where, you know, this thing just gets fine-tuned and tweaked and molded till finally, you know, come August and September and October, we'll have that thing ready for production.
Thank you.
Coach, is very cool because hearing you and I recall Coach Simmons even talking about that mid-season evaluation that you guys do at the end of the season. So let me see if I can get something out of you here. Let's go back to 2022, the end of 22 season, going into the start of 23. Can you give us something that you know, either positively or maybe, I don't know if the right word is negatively, but let's just say something that you wanted to change or something that you figured out in the season coming out of 22 to 23 that you guys did in that similar process. Obviously, you guys are going to find new things this year, but maybe take us back a year, or even if you want to go back 2 years and give us an idea of what that looks like, and maybe people will go, "Oh, okay, yeah."
So something that I'm extremely proud of, and the biggest thing that we had to do coming out of the 22 season is we had to run the football better, like no question about it. And for us, again, everything, we looked at it from a holistic view. We looked at it from the play call selections. We looked at it from situations, from down and distance, from personnel, from, you know, should we have run this play in this situation? Or, you know what, based on how they lined up, maybe this call would have been a little bit better. So we're evaluating everything. We improved running the football almost 50 spots ranked in FCS, which I don't know where other people were. But for us to be able to, you know, it started with the coaching staff. You know, we challenged ourselves. We were really intentional about, like, hey, we need all hands on deck. You know, more heads, more minds in the room, the better. Like, no idea is a bad idea. So we just rallied. We threw everything together, continued to evaluate ourselves. Part of that process as well was through the off season. We intentionally structured our summer time to reflect that. We had a program that we call Baskin Robbins, and it was the flavor of the week. So what we did was, during the summertime, we would spend a whole entire week focusing on this one run play, and we would meet on it, and then we would walk through it, and then we would meet on it again, and then we would walk through it again, a different aspect of that run. Maybe, you know, how do we need to run the ball when the defense decides to pressure us? And or you know, if we get some unconventional defensive fronts or alignments, How do we handle those? What's the communication? And so then on Friday, we would take the work that we had done in the meeting room and on the field Monday through Thursday, and we would put it all together on Friday. And so we would have 5 solid days of classroom teaching, walk through, repeating things that we goofed up, making sure that the communication was right. And we would package that run up, we'd store it in our brain, and we'd move on to the next run. And so we did it for 6 straight weeks. We did that during the summer of 23. And it was all based on our study of ourselves for 22. The coolest part about it was I remember specific instances during our championship push towards the end of the season where we would get off the field and there would be, we call them unscouted looks. Say there was something that the defense did against us in that game that they had not put on film before. There's 100,000 different combinations of what they could possibly do. You could what if yourself till you're blue in the face. So as you're preparing during the course of the week, we call it chasing ghosts. You can't just say, well, they could do this. You can't what if yourself like that. You have to go off what they've put on film. So if you get an unscouted look, there was an opportunity for us. There were times where we would go on the sideline and say, guys, remember the 3rd week of the Baskin-Robbins program this summer? Remember I got on one of you guys for doing that? That was the issue. And you know what? They were all able to reflect back on that. We had a common experience. We had worked on it in June or we had worked on it in July. We were able to make that quick fix. And then we go back out there the next series and we rip an explosive run on it. So for me, you talk about growth, you talk about progress, you talk about fixing issues, solving problems. It's gratifying as a coach when you're able to put in all that work in December, in January, in February. It takes a lot of work as well to plan those meetings, to script the walkthroughs. The players are investing all their time in that. And we're able to recall that one instance from a June walkthrough that ends up helping you in November. Like that's a proud moment as a coach. It's a championship level moment as a player. And, that was something that you ask about, what do we need to fix? We had to get our run game cracking. And we did that from our opportunity to prepare off-season, spring ball, summertime, fall camp, and then we carried it into the season. It showed up in November.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Marcus, Kelvin, I got, a lot of people chimed in with some questions in the chats or the emails. So if you guys got something you want to jump in, feel free. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna find a question or two from the people here, Coach. I know a lot of people. Let me see. One of the questions has to do with, now that you're a full-time play caller, what kind of adjustment do you have to make from being the offensive line coach? Where you're now the full-time play caller. If the offensive line is not doing something, are you able to get on them the way you used to? Even though you got these play calling duties, how a lot of people, I got a couple different questions in that form.
Hold on the field or in the box? Which one?
So that's a great question, and I'm sure that's what Rattler Nation is wondering. So the past 2 years, the way our process, the way our game day operation was, obviously Coach Simmons called the plays. And anything that happened from tackle to tackle was my responsibility. And coaching offensive line is a different animal. Here's an example. We could say we could throw an interception, and it might be a long ball and it gets tipped by somebody and the defense comes up with it. Fluke play. For an offensive line coach, say the defense brought a 6-man pressure and we picked it up perfectly. It could be something that we worked in practice. For an offensive line coach, that's a major win. Now, for the rest of the unit, we just gave up the ball. And so obviously we're running off the field and we got things that we need to fix. But the skill players in the offensive line almost operate in completely different arenas. Flip side of the coin. We might call a run play and we turn somebody loose. We don't block that nose guard. And maybe the running back makes him miss. I give him something in the backfield and just eludes him. And that's a great play by the running back. It might be a 25-yard run, but for an offensive line coach, oh goodness, you can't turn the nose loose. So the past 2 years with Coach Simmons, I've kind of operated in that world. Now, for the rest of my career with Coach Simmons, I've been in the skill world. I've had responsibility, and I'm talking all the way back to 2015. I've been in the press box. I've been on the field. I've had my eyes on the back end. I've been concerned with the secondary safety rotation. I've seen pressures. I've been responsible for talking and communicating fronts to the offensive line coach. So I've been through just about every single level of that game day operation that you could possibly be. So I feel comfortable in all of those spots. Okay. Now, another piece is I can't tell you enough about how strong our offensive staff is and how excited I am that Coach Colsey has done a phenomenal job of he was the continuity play, right? He was the guy that was going to keep everything together, and he has delivered on that. He has done just that. So we already have this chemistry as an offensive staff. We already have, we all speak the same language. We all are looking for the same things. There are times, you spend times with some of your best friends long enough, you start completing each other's sentences, right? We go through those type things, right? Like we know Coach AC is going to have his gospel music on. Like it's going to be loud and it's going to be in his office. Before I walk in the office, I know what he's doing. Coach Wyndham is going to have black or gray on. Like those are his colors. That's what he's wearing. And like I know these people intimately because we spend so much time with each other. Coach Casey he's probably going to be the loudest person on the practice field. He's going to be flying around. He's the youngest coach. He's going to be flying around with juice. He's going to be yelling. You'll hear him before you see him. So we know each other very closely. We all have great working relationships with each other. So what we have is we have a bunch of pieces right now. And our process as we go through spring, summer, and fall camp is we need to figure out where each person needs to be, who needs to be on the field, who needs to be in the box, whose eyes need to be on this side of the field, whose eyes need to be in this location. At the end of the day, there's this common phrase in coaching that I've heard a lot of people say, and it kind of makes my skin crawl. A lot of coaches will say when you get done with Thursday's practice, or maybe when you get to the destination of you're playing an away game on Friday afternoon, a lot of coaches will say the hay's in the barn. Okay. My opinion, I don't think you could be more wrong, right? We have to coach just as hard through our meetings and walkthroughs on Friday night. We'll have walkthroughs for our opening script on Saturday morning. Pre-game, we're still coaching. In game, we're still coaching. Like we have to be live and active the whole entire time. And our coaches know that. Like that's the standard. That's the expectation. And that's what we do. For us, that's just standard operating procedures. That's nothing out of the ordinary. So we've got these great pieces in place. We need to identify, will we have to shuffle those pieces around? Absolutely. Right. But the continuity part is we know each other. We have been through, we've dug out some really close games that probably shouldn't have been so close. We've had to come from behind together. We've experienced adversity together. So we're able to lean on each other and rely on each other. We speak the same language. There is a trust factor between our staff that is important, and it can't be understated, and it can't go, without recognition. I love these guys, man. I trust them. They got my back. I got theirs, and we'll be ready to roll come fall.
Awesome. All right. Good stuff. And again, what'd you say, Coach? Field or box? I'm sorry, I missed that answer. No, don't worry about it. I'm just kidding. You.
He said he got to figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I know. It's all good. All right. Here, I got a question here. Let me see. Jimmy Mack asked the following question. He said, in your offensive packages, is there a place for a dual threat QB? If so, is there a QB in-house that fits that mold? I think a lot of our guys have the ability to be dual threat, but I'll let you answer that as best as you want to answer that, Coach.
No, you're exactly right. And just kind of a side note, if it sounds like there's a war zone in here, if it sounds like a bomb's going off, it's just my 3-year-old. He's supposed to be in bed two hours ago. So y'all don't worry about me. I'm okay. I hear the ceiling rattling upstairs. So
might be watching the show, Coach. Might be logged in watching the show.
We got him fired up. So yes, there absolutely is a place for that. We are, one of the things that we'll talk about on offense a lot is FTS, and that's feed the studs. And that is, we need to figure out what our guys do best. and we need to find creative ways. It's our job as coaches to find creative ways to put them in those positions as often as we can. Now, it's our responsibility as coaches who develop young men, right, to take those areas of opportunity and those other areas that are not their strongest attributes, and to develop those and teach and grow those as well. But yes, there is absolutely a place for that. It always, it's kind of the great equalizer in the run game is being able to run your quarterback. So yes, we'll have an element of that. I think there are certain situations. We talk about situational football again. I don't want to run our quarterback 25 times a game, but there are times where we're going to need him to pull that ball, and we're going to have to have some type of advantage run, and sometimes the ball is going to be in the quarterback's hand.
Let's see. Marcus, Kelvin, feel free as I'm going through some of the questions that people. So if you want to jump in with something that comes to mind, jump in here when we got Coach. I got one here for you while we're talking about quarterback play. EA asked, was your potential scheme call for I'm assuming LOS is line of scrimmage checks, where based on the alignment and adjustment with motion? I mean, how much freedom are you, and it may depend obviously on the quarterback, but how much freedom do you want to be able to give the quarterback at the line of scrimmage?
That's a great question. We are, that's something that we've done in the past. Just, let's establish that. We gave Jeremy Musa, it really helps as a play caller, right? You don't have to make that exact perfect play call every time. I could tell the quarterback, we could signal in and say, hey, we want to run the ball strong. And it's his responsibility. A lot of times we'll give him an either or decision to make. We're either going to do this or we're going to do that. So it's not it's not the old days where you say, oh, the quarterback called his own number. Like, it's not that where he's got the whole playbook open. But there are times where we'll give that guy, and I have implicit trust in our coaching staff to be able to prepare those young men for the looks that they're going to see. Yes, we will do that. We have done that in the past, and that won't change this year.
All right.
We call it advantage run checking.
Advantage run checking. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback, Coach. Hey, how fun is that for you? I think I told Coach Cozy this, and I think it's got to be exciting to come in sort of with a fresh opportunity. I think it's nerve-wracking, obviously, by the number of questions that Rattler Nation is asking. I know Rattler Nation is panicked about what we're going to do about quarterback, because look, we're going in with we had 2 years, excuse me, of Musa.
Right.
Did a great job, led us to a championship. Now we got something new. We got new coach, new OC, new quarterback. But talk about your excitement to be able to start this journey of your coaching career with a new quarterback. I mean, you got some good quarterbacks in the room.
Let me jump in before Coach and add to that, because the question I had ties into that a little bit. Coach, you got the luxury of a pretty experienced line returning and a lot of depth there. You got 2 out of your top 3 running backs returning, added a quality guy. So, and you got, tight ends, experience, guys who won championships already. So that quarterback, that I can understand why everybody's talking about the quarterback position, of course, and that's always the pretty position, so to speak. But in answering that question, tie in how the luxury of having that experience around that quarterback plays into your decision.
Absolutely. So for starters, a great offensive line is a quarterback's best friend, because as long as we keep him upright and clean, he's going to have opportunities to make plays. One of the best things about this offense is a lot of it is built around taking what the defense gives you. Obviously, we'll take our shots. We'll be calculating and when and how to do that. Again, that's one of the exciting parts about it. Like we're in the state of Florida. We got speed on speed on speed. So we'll run past some people. We'll have our fair share of down the field throws, deep balls, double moves, things along those lines, to give the quarterback that that opportunity to shine and push the ball downfield. But for us, it all starts with the run game. So we're going to lean on those big guys, and I think we threw the ball against Southern. I think we threw the ball 51 times, which, we were down. We came from behind. That was just kind of the nature of what that game called for. There are some aspects of our offense as well that give our quarterback an opportunity to decide post-snap whether he wants to throw the football or whether we need to run the football. We believe that through calling a lot of those quarterback post-snap decision type plays, the law of large numbers at some point is going to take over, and those numbers will even themselves out. So, there may be a game where, you air it out 25, 30, 35 times. There may be a game where the same running back gets 22 touches. And that's just kind of the way that, based on the defensive structure, let's take Texas Southern, for example. They played in a 3 high safety defense. They changed it up a little bit on us, but they had some smaller body types. They were more in a dime personnel type, 6 DBs on the field at one time on first and second down. So that's probably not going to be a game where you're going to say, you know what, let's go backyard football style, y'all. Let's go empty backfield and let's just throw the ball over the yard. No, we're going to get our big guys in the game because they're keeping their little guys in the game. Let's turn around and let's hand the football off. And that's a recipe for success. We felt like Southern had really good size and they had good strength in the box and around the line of scrimmage. And so we felt that since our speed and our agility was an advantage, we turned that game into a perimeter game. We threw a lot of quick passes. We put the ball out on the perimeter now, and we did. The intent was, hey, let's force their bigger guys to make tackles on our smaller guys in space, out on the edge, on the perimeter. So that philosophy is not going to change. Our quarterback competition that we're going to have this spring is going to be exciting, and I'm a firm believer that competition breeds success. The cream will rise to the crop. Right now, man, these guys we have not had a practice yet, and they've already been competing. They've been competing in the weight room. They've been competing in the meeting room. We've had fourth quarter mat drills early in the morning. They've been competing in those. And so that's really encouraging to see. It's a healthy competition too, which I think is important. It's not a begrudging, there's no negativity to it. It's not a toxic type situation. I mean, it is a healthy, and I'm saying healthy. It's great for those guys. It's great for our football team. So somebody at some point is going to rise to the top. It may be after spring ball. It may be halfway through fall camp. It may be sometime this summer. And our expectation is that these guys bring their best every day. And they have to. They're forced to, because they know if I don't, he is. And so that, therefore now I've fallen a step behind. So that's part of the and it's not even pressure. It's excitement. It's expectation. And that's what these guys are bringing to the table. They're mature young men. You asked Kelvin about, new OC. Well, yes. All right. It'll be my first time to call plays this season. However, it's the same offense. We've got the same guys that are executing those plays. We've got the same position coaches that are coaching those guys. So we actually had a conversation today as an offensive staff about the level of excitement we have, because you've got a guy that's been coached by you for 2 years. Now you get more into, you're beyond that initial level of, what do I need to do, coach? Well, on this play, you need to do this. They know the assignment. They know that expectation. Now we're to the point of where we're fine-tuning these details. These guys are starting to understand the why. We're beyond the what, we're beyond the how. But these guys it's important that they understand why. Now I'm understanding, how do I fit into the bigger scheme? Right. And so it's not the first time these guys are hearing that, but just as you become more developed, as you become more confident, the joke was today, you can only screw it up so many ways. So after you've screwed it up this way and that way and the third way, you figured out how to do it right. And so we've taken those reps, we've logged those corrections, we've gained that understanding, we've stacked those experiences, and that makes all of us better. So yes, first time calling plays, but it ain't the first time correcting. It's not the first time, making adjustments. It's not the first time being with these coaches. Like, Rattler offense is going to look familiar to Rattler Nation.
Hey, that goes right into what Mr. Campbell put up, and I put that up. You basically are saying we have a championship environment.
We do.
I love that.
We do.
That.
You know, it's cool because the guys that we were talking about earlier that were in the Legacy Bowl, those are the vocal leaders that we had last year. Jeremy Musa would speak up. Kamari Young would speak up. Cam Coben was not a vocal guy, but Cam Coben was Mr. Do Right. Cam Coben was Steady Eddie. He was everything that we expected of an offensive lineman. Those guys are gone now, which that leadership void creates opportunity. And it creates opportunity for these other guys who, you know, maybe because I played behind Kamari Young and he was the vocal guy, you know, it's hard to have two vocal guys in the same room. Well, now one of them's out, the next one steps up. So it's been really cool over the course of January and February to see these guys just come into their own, embrace these leadership type roles, start to speak out, speak out. They're finding their voice right now. That's part of the championship caliber culture that we're talking about. The best teams, Coach Colsey alluded to it today, the best teams are not coach-led teams, they're player-led teams. And we've started to get into the genesis of these new leaders rising to the top. It's really, you get to sit back as a coach and you kind of watch it happen. You know, we put these guys through a lot of stress in our fourth quarter drills. That there's a lot of adversity that these guys have to fight and battle. You know, there are times where in human nature, I think you want to kind of turn your back and point some fingers. Man, it's made these dudes grow closer together, and it's forced those leaders to start to speak up and hold their brothers to that same standard. So we got a lot of that going on, which lets us know, hey, we're heading in the right direction.
Good stuff. One last one, Coach, here for you. I thought this was kind of interesting. Somebody JT just dropped this. What's your game day fix, Coach? What's your rituals on game day? What's that look like for you?
So it's kind of backwards here. I run. When we're on an away trip, when we're on an away game, as soon as we get off the bus, I go put some gym shorts on, put some shoes on, put my backwards hat on, grab my phone, and I go run 110s. And I typically do 12, 14 110s. Just a little nervous energy, I like to exercise, I like to move. Now, the backwards part about it is I hate running. If I'm going to do some type of cardio, give me a basketball. I'll go out in the yard and play with the kids. Like, I'll chase them around all day long, but I can't just, you know, put on a set of headphones and start running like Forrest Gump. I can't do it, but I do it on game day. So it's a little backwards. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We talked about that earlier. I've been doing it for a few years now. But it just get a little sweat in. Again, I talked about our offensive staff being tight. We're all close knit. We've got a pretty hardcore pregame workout ritual that we'll go through. And so, you know, it'll usually last 30, 40 minutes, but man, we're in there getting it, break a good sweat, get a good pump in, get your heart rate up. Just, again, releasing a little bit of there's a lot of work and a lot of sitting down at a desk and a lot of, you know, sitting in the meeting room and sitting at your own desk and sitting on the bus. We do it, kind of got a sedentary lifestyle throughout the week, save practice time. But we try to be intentional about moving around, you know, trying to be healthy, get your blood flowing. And so we'll get after it together on game day. Typically in the morning time, just wake up, you know, get your body moving, get awake, get ready for the day, and try to make your game pillow fit a little size smaller.
Oh, I hear you. All right. Well, hey, Coach, I hope we gave you enough questions. You know, I know you didn't get as many as you were expecting at the 220 Club luncheon today. So we tried to fill in the void for you. And we appreciate Rattler Nation, everybody who sent emails and tweets and the folks in the chat room. Hopefully we gave you guys a good taste of what Coach Henry, but also what to expect for this upcoming spring and summer and even into the fall. Coach, I'm going to give you the last word. Any last words that you want to share with us before we end our time with you tonight?
For you guys, let's do it again sometime soon. Maybe after spring, summertime, preseason. You know, once the season kicks up, the thing gets a little hectic, but I'd love to be on again soon. Rattler Nation, appreciate the support, appreciate the love. We can't do what we do without y'all. It's important that y'all know that, you know, we are not satisfied with a championship last year. The standard has been set. We understand what it takes to get there. All right. And as coaches, as players, as an organization, and I'm saying everybody, including video, athletic training, equipment, recruiting, all hands on deck. We are working our tails off to ensure that we make you proud. We're working our tails off to make sure that we return to the same level of success that we had last year. And just know that we are hungrier than ever to keep playing football into late December. We appreciate you. We love you. My family feels the love and the appreciation. That it's important that y'all know that, because that's a really big deal. You know, we talk a lot about being a family, and we feel that, and we appreciate that. The recruits feel it, the players feel it, our families feel it. We're gonna get another one together.
Well said, Coach. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time tonight. Thank you to you and your family. You guys be well, and we look for we definitely want to run back the conversation and kind of do some post spring game evaluation conversation talk with you. Okay,
that'd be great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. There's the Twitter handle right there at Coach Hen 501. Make sure you send Coach hello, thank you for coming on the show, talking to him, and I'm sure if you guys any question that I didn't get to or that we didn't get to, I'm sure if you throw it in the Twitter handle or the X handle, you know, maybe Coach on some downtime, he might be able to hit you back. He might do that. You know. Hey, thanks, Coach. Thanks for your time tonight.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the work y'all do.
Appreciate you. All right. All right. Man, good stuff. Yeah, appreciate everybody. Some great questions by a lot of folks. Email and then on X. You know, I didn't think you know, I know some of you guys had some questions on there about whether Coach Roll was coming back to the team in any capacity. You know, I think that's like a Colsey question in my opinion. We got to ask Coach Colsey, as well as the recruiting coordinator. I know we had some questions about the recruiting coordinator position. I don't know. I think if you recall the interview we had with Colsey, Coach, he would rather get a football ops person before he gets a recruiting coordinator. Not saying that the recruiting coordinator is not important, but I think he needs that or wants that football ops person first on his wish list. You know, so yeah. Again, just so everybody knows, the two most recent announcements, promotions, Coach Henry, right there, assistant head coach / offensive coordinator, and also be looking over the overseeing the offensive line. And then we got Milton Patterson. Coach Patterson will elevate from being the co-DC to being the solo DC, as well as overseeing the linebackers. What does it say to you guys, Marcus, Kelvin? You know, Coach Colsey, you know, I mean, what's not broke, don't need to fix it. He has really been committed to what he said about, you know, knowing that there are good men, good coaches already on the staff, and that elevation is up. What's your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, remember, Rattler Nation was very clear. The players were very clear with the search process. We wanted continuity, and Coach Colsey mentioned that when he came on our show, as well as the 220 Club today, that, you know, continuity was a big theme, and he got it. He understood the assignment, and got to remember, these guys won championships, and they got a great core returning. So, absolutely. I mean, why would you mess with it too much, right? It's successful. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like that analogy.
You know, Yeah, I mean, it seems to make sense, but I mean, all we do is just watch football, talk about football, and watch athletics and talk about it. I mean, that's all we do. That's all we do. I don't know. Anyway, um, Marcus, any thoughts you want to add? Anything you want to get in there?
Well, I guess all of us who have been clamoring for continuity, and it certainly should help buoy the confidence that we have in the team. We're chomping at the bit to see what coaching additions, and I guess we kind of have a rough idea around player additions, even though there's that spring window post spring practice. But overall, I think it'll bode well in terms of the continuity, but you also have to factor in whatever nuances and differences in personality or aggressiveness that Coach Hendry brings to the table, and also there may be some other factors integrated as well, just from his time in the SEC. And I watched the YouTube interview that Coach Colsey did back in December, just ahead of the Celebration Bowl. And so this is when Coach Simmons was still there, and we were preparing for Howard. And he was interviewed with, I guess, one of the longtime Seminole or FSU. I've forgotten his name now. But basically, he talked about his time in Canada, and he hinted at the fact that some of the plays or schemes or something that he learned in Canada may have found its way somehow into the playbook. So I'm interested to see, to what degree there are nuances with Canadian football that are allowable in college football, how that plays out. It's not necessarily something you can prepare for. If there's something that we can take advantage of that is allowable in terms of football rules and formations and things of that nature. So it'll be interesting to see.
I'll be interested to see what this offense really looks like with someone who is who is a I hate to use the phrase dual threat, but who really is that run pass option guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm curious what this offense will look like when you have somebody who's just as adept at being able to make the pass into the flat, find the tight end in the seam, versus and then turn around and be able to take off on a 5-yard, 10-yard run. I'm curious to see what and again, who knows if that's what it'll be or if that's what we have. But I think it's on the table given some of the quarterbacks in the room, right?
You would think so.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Almost all the quarterbacks have more mobility than the quarterback we left, and are more willing to.
I'd say the last three quarterbacks. Would you agree?
But it's going to depend on. Once we have a quarterback coach announced, it's going to depend on the tolerance of the offensive philosophy. There's some staffs that philosophy is the risk is not worth the reward. They want to limit potential hits on quarterbacks. Now, quarterback is a position that touches the ball every play on offense. So I mean, you're gonna get some targets anyway. But what it sounded like Coach Henry was speaking to was that we may see at times that quarterback pull the ball more, because I know we called for it a lot over the course of our championship season, a little more.
We did.
But a lot of that also had to do with how consistent or the lack of consistency in the passing game, right? We always talked about percentages. We needed to be about 65%, for our offense to be looking like what we thought it should look like. And we struggled to get there for many reasons.
Ooh, oh wow.
What do you got? You got an update for us, Marcus?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's 8-5 Mercer in the bottom of the 8th. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was 8-2 at one point.
I saw that. Okay.
And it's so
Where
we're
we at?
within 3 runs, bottom of the 8th.
Okay.
We got an 0-2 count and 2 outs already. So hopefully they'll be out of there, and then we'll see if we can get a
down to our last
rally
3
in the
outs.
top of the 9th. Yep.
Right.
Oh, also do have some other, I don't know, call it breaking news, but we offered a graduate tight end from Cornell. He goes like 6'5", 263. I think we offered him, let me see, about 3 or 4 hours ago, but I just came across it. And he's a big boy. He blocks. Actually plays offense and defense. I guess he didn't get much run at tight end, but apparently, I guess earlier in the month, FSU and other schools offered him as a defensive lineman because he has, I think, 7 block kicks in his career at Cornell. But we just offered him today. His name is Emmanuel Adibi. Emmanuel Adibi, and he's from up my neck of the woods.
While you mention that, Marcus, can you speak on a couple of the recent commitments that that the football program received? Did we talk about the linebacker who played at Michigan last week? Did we mention him last week?
I thought we did, but I'm not sure.
And then
Jerome Nichols, he's goes 6'0", I think 235. He was a preferred walk-on at Michigan. He was kind of a versatile athlete, linebacker, H-back coming out of high school, out of Detroit Renaissance High School. And I think back in the day, well, way back in my day, that might have been one of the schools that we tapped, not necessarily for football talent, but when we had a Detroit pipeline or pipelines for
alumni out of Renaissance.
Yeah.
I can't remember who, but I've heard that high school many a times.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, he won a championship, University of Michigan. I don't know if he got a whole lot of playing time with Michigan, but he comes, I'd assume, with at least 2 years of eligibility. This is class of 2020, and actually the same class as this young man, Emmanuel Adibi, both class of 2020. So they got that red shirt, I want to say COVID year. So he's going to come down, and then we got a commitment from someone that his name slips my mind right now. I don't have his file in front of me, but he played from Lamar. He's out of Houston, Texas.
Linebacker.
Mm-hmm. Linebacker out of Houston, Texas, and he played for Lamar University for about a year or two. And looks like he had verbally committed to Jackson State, and then they released him from his NIL and got an offer from FAM, and he committed, I think, late last week. Okay. So we're starting to bolster our linebacking core.
Positions of need.
Need. We also need, probably a couple, a little more defensive line depth.
Good stuff.
And we did get a commitment from, I just saw it. I don't have my spreadsheet up.
We can come back to it. I mean, I just thought you had started talking, we can come back to it. I wanted to hit a couple other things. Very quickly here. Going back to our conversation with Gerald, we were talking about the injury to Davius Richard. Vaughn had checked in and said that it was reported to be a dislocated ankle is what he suffered. And then what I found, Coach Trey Oliver, who was Richard's coach at North Carolina Central, with 2 epic tweets. I didn't even pull them up because I found them to be like, wow, okay, really? Where he basically was very critical. Let's just say that, to say the least. Very critical of the decision of the coaches at the HBCU Legends, HBCU Legacy Bowl, excuse me. And then I think yesterday he issued what I love to call the sorry not sorry statement, where he opened the statement by saying, I apologize for what I said.
Language, the tone.
The tone. And then in the second paragraph, he goes into,
I said what I said.
I said what I said. I talked to so and so, and I talked to them, and they all said they weren't going to do it, but for some reason, them coaches did it anyway. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry I said what I said. I'm like, well, I tell you what. And so just in case you didn't know, apparently the coaching staff on Richard's team was the Howard coaching staff, Coach Scott, who, of course, beat North Carolina Central last year. And that whole rivalry will now take a new and very interesting turn.
You remember it was Coach Oliver who told them when Central won the year before, and Coach Scott mentioned about co-champs.
Yeah.
Oliver took his shot then. Hey, ain't no co-champs. We put 50 on them.
Yeah. And then what did Howard do? Turned around the next year and put 50 on them. And so, man,
the rivalry between those two coaches is real.
Yeah. So if the first question at MEAC Media Day is not asking Coach Oliver about those comments with Coach Scott in the room, then somebody in the media, you obviously you don't subscribe to the same petty illustrated that I subscribe to, but I understand that's where some depending upon who gets the microphone first, that's where that may go. Another interesting, EA asked this question. He said that, and I don't know if you guys heard this or what your thoughts are. He said FAM is catching a lot of flack for a lack of media representation from our school, despite having the highest number of players ever. EA says our players were asking other schools for clips. Now,
I didn't see a lot of other schools with personnel there either, but I do agree between the SWAC office and the schools, there needs to be more. I mean, you had plenty of outlets and podcasters and folks there, and you had a better attended game than we've seen in the past. It was pretty decent attendance. You had the Sonic Boom there, which I'm sure brought some non-casual HBCU fans to the midst, but I didn't see. I haven't seen anything from other school sites with a bunch of clips either, to be honest.
Well, I would say this. Think about everything that the FAMU Athletics department had going on Saturday. You had a doubleheader basketball game going on in Tallahassee. You had your softball team. You had the baseball team down in Vero Beach.
Vero.
You had the softball team that was out.
Alabama.
And I'll be honest, I don't think there was much representation at the baseball game other than your AD that was there, because we were there. I was there with Jimmy Mack. I was live tweeting during the game. That wasn't coming from the athletics department, which that tells me no one's there on site. Now, yes, they had clips, but they were video clipping that from wherever third-party site off the video feed, right? That's not hard to do. So, and then what else do we have going on? We had you're at softball. You had that. Was tennis at Mercer. What else was going on? Basketball, baseball, softball. That's 3 sports going on in a day. And multiple games, right? So it's not just one thing. Softball played 2 games on Saturday. Basketball 2 games. Our staff is only so big. So it had to be some tough decisions in terms of where you're sending people. And I hate to say this, your attention has to go towards current players and current teams in season.
Well, Bryan, let me just speak to that. We understand that there's limitations. Me more than most understand the limitations of in-house staff. That's why I mentioned the SWAC, and what I would say is there are people in the area that you can leverage. There's schools in the area with media folks. There, the SWAC office is not that far away, but you got schools in the conference that's there, and they staff the same as ours for the most part. But if that's why I'm saying the conference, probably should have someone that they can contract with. to cover the filling gaps like this, because it is, you know, the world is a visual world, right?
Mm-hmm.
People pay attention to what they see, so it's important. I can't, you know, that can be minimized. It's very important that you know that to have that, you know, to have that out there to give you the brand notoriety. So, but yeah, but to expect the school staff, the way they're staffed and funded, to be able to cover all that on the same day is not realistic.
Yeah,
And then and even if they do pull it off, it's not going to be quality, because you don't have the equipment nor the personnel to be in multiple locations and do a quality job and have a production person. So you know, it's not easy. It's not easy, but that it's somebody's job to figure it out, though.
well, but I maintain you have the Legacy Bowl. That's their event. They were putting clips out. The NFL Network is broadcasting the game. They were
Man,
putting
if you're
clips
trying to
out.
build your the ACC network, I mean, I'm just saying, man, I'm a dreamer. I like to think bigger. I like to see what other folks are doing, and I
You
like
think
to
so?
try to figure out a way to get to that point. So what I'm saying is, I understand what a Legacy Bowl got. I'm saying the SWAC is a conference that's pretty popular with 12 members and a rabid fan base. I'm just saying I think we can do a better job, and we need to do some brainstorming to have things in place that we can give even more coverage. Just like I talked
All
about
right.
the streaming product they put out for basketball and stuff and other sports. It got to be better.
Okay, I haven't paid attention to this, but I don't know that I've seen. Look, I'm curious to see if the ACC, SEC, or whomever, if they've been at the Reese Senior Bowl or if they've been at these combine. I just don't know that they cover the post college players with the same fervor as they do live actual teams and games that are happening at the same time. I just don't know that happens. I don't.
The school staff have more people or more resources, so they may not have to do it as much.
Okay, all right.
Apples and apples.
America's HBCU champion says that FAMU Athletics media was at the Legacy Bowl on Saturday, covering the former student athletes. So I appreciate that chime in. That's on Twitter. So it doesn't show me the whole handle, but I'm assuming. So I think the clips are there. So I think the student athletes.
What they at? What they at?
Look, go. They know how to reach.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. What they at? I'm not saying.
Josh.
I'm not saying they're not there. I'm sure that they whatever's out there will come. But I mean, if they there, we need to see them.
Okay.
Keeping it real, keeping it 100.
All right, I'm gonna take their word on it. JT, does the SWAC office have a digital media team? Yes, they.
Good question. Do. I don't know. Do they?
Good question.
I don't know. I have no idea.
SWAC office is not as big as you might envision it.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. So B Starks with a comment here. I haven't paid attention to the streaming lately on Rattlers Plus. He says it's horrible. They've yet to show the new scoreboard in Lawson. Well, I mean, B Starks, do you want to see the scoreboard or you want to see the game? What do you want to see? The scoreboard is 80 feet in the air. The action is on the court. What do you want? What do you want them to show you? I don't follow the complaint there. Now, if you're talking about the quality,
the man say when you watch other games and stuff, you see everything. We just want to be in the same position as our peers. That's all he's saying. Stop being messy.
Me? Anyway. All right. I got you, B Starks. I'm with you. You said both. All right. Let's pick up some stuff because it's getting close to showtime wrap up. Baseball. Well, obviously we know what we did today. Unfortunately, on the short end, that's 2 in a row that we've lost to Mercer. But we did have a pretty good weekend. Went 2-1 in the Andre Dawson Classic. Came from behind to beat Grambling 7-6. Lost the game to Prairie View. I was at that game with Jimmy Mack. Had a great time. Shout out to all the Rattler. Great Rattler crowd. Great support there at Vero Beach for that game. Rattler Nation really showed up. A lot of good fans there. Shout out to Minority Baseball Prospects. I'm going to give my guys at MVP Takeover. Minority Baseball Prospects, they showed up and they brought some students to the game. I'm gonna tell you what, I would, if you have a young person that is interested in baseball, I would encourage you to check out Minority Baseball Prospects and find out where they have a development camp or group in your area. They are building these satellite programs in various cities in the South. I would just encourage you, man, go check them out. Minority Baseball Prospects. If you haven't heard, do a Google search. I think it's at MVP Takeover on Twitter or Instagram, but look them up, Minority Baseball Prospects. The day 3, we had a 16-1 win over Southern. Big time performance over Southern. And then, of course, there's the loss for it. A lot of close losses. So in the 4 games prior to today, we lose them both by 1 run. Get a big win. So we were 2-2 over the weekend. Well, really, I guess 2-1 over the weekend, 0-2. Who do we have upcoming this weekend? Who do we play?
Grambling.
Oh, the guard class. Oh, well, we own Grambling. Hell, we Grambling 9 out of the last. We do. We've beaten Grambling 9 out of the last 10 times that we played them. And with the exception of the game on Friday night, all of them have been in the Gar Lucas, I believe. I don't even think we haven't seen Grambling in the SWAC tournament, but they don't want to see us, put it like that. So anyway, going up to Atlanta, I think it's a Cool-Ray Field, home of the Stripers. I almost said it the wrong way again. In Gwinnett County. That's just what's on my mind, I guess. Sorry, I'm doing too much. It's late. Let's get to our co-pitcher of the week and co-hitter of the week. They are none other than Jacob Granger and True Fontenot. Jacob got the win over Southern. Gave up no runs, had 4 strikeouts, had an on-base average of 150. It's a good job for Jacob. Any relation to Caleb?
Don't know.
All right. Well, that's a good guy. That's a good comeback. I think Jacob's first outing was against Eastern Illinois, and it wasn't too great. But he had a good outing in this game. True Fontenot, though, I knew when I saw the Twitter handle, I think it was either Baseball or Athletics, tweet out that Fontenot had 7 hits, a 778 average, and slugging an 800 on base percentage, 5 RBIs. When I saw those numbers, I said, "Oh yeah, that's SWAC Player of the Week." I'm watching SWAC teams get beat 20-5, 30-1, 100-5. No, I'm just saying. It was baseball scores. It was like they're getting slaughtered over the weekend. Yeah, I knew Fontenot was going to be up for SWAC hitter of the week. So congratulations to Jacob and True on their performance. And yeah, so that's Grambling this weekend. Let's move over to the softball diamond, where the Rattlers went 2-2 over the weekend. And we also ended up with a SWAC pitcher of the week. And she is none other than pitcher Zoriana Hughes, and she had 9 strikeouts in 9.1 innings. She led the team with a 1.50 ERA and a .129 opponent's batting average. And the Rattlers went 2-2. So we split. We played 2 games, I believe, on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and we split those. Correct?
Yes.
Anybody know who the softball? Well, obviously, this is a big weekend, softball weekend. Yes. This is a big softball weekend.
We played Jacksonville University.
As, of course, this weekend. That's right. Jacksonville University, of course, the field dedication for Coach Veronica Wiggins will be taking place Saturday at 2:00. I hope this will be streamed. I know there was an announcement. If you go to FAMUathletics.com.
I hope the weather. I hope the weather helps us out, man. It's supposed to rain this weekend.
Oh my goodness, no, we can't have rain for this. No. But yeah, I think they were asking people to bring chairs if you wanted to sit out in the outfield lawn or whatever. I hope FAMU Athletics can stream this. And I know we've got Rattlers Plus. I know we got all that, but this should be streamed free. This should run on FAMU Athletics YouTube or Rattlers Plus. Don't charge people once the game starts. But for this field dedication, this needs to be something that people can see, especially if you can't make it. So I beg you, please, VPAD Sykes, please, Josh Padilla, I know you watching, I know you go to, please don't charge. Let Rattler Nation see this field dedication live via social media. Okay, and then charge, and then cut the stream off, and then charge when it's time for the game. I don't care if you do that, but at least give people a chance. Well, I don't know, maybe if you encourage people to buy the stream during the broadcast, who knows? You might pick up some subscribers. Anyway, if you didn't know already, there's a few quotes from Coach, or actually about Coach Wiggins from our ADVP, who had a birthday the other day. So happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
To VP Sykes. Mr. Jackson says she's 25. I don't know if that was accurate. I tend to think maybe not. Might be just a hair older than 25, maybe like 26, 27. But anyway, and there's some quotes from Coach Patterson. I won't read them all. You can go to FAMUathletics.com and read them. But the summary, just on, in case you didn't know about Coach Wiggins, 726 wins, the most in athletics history, 13 conference champions beginning in 1993, which I think, was that the first year the MEAC brought softball in, Kelvin?
I'm not sure if it's the first year, but I don't think we had a coach before her. I think she's been our only head softball coach.
I feel like she won the first. It's either they started it in 92 or 3, somewhere around there. I think FAMU might have been the first. I don't know where I read that or saw that in the book somewhere.
I hope all this is featured on a banner somewhere around the facilities, because this is the kind of history that needs to be proudly presented at our facilities. This is a lot of stuff, but go ahead.
EA, right? Just win. 8 NCAA regionals from 99 all the way up to 2017. 5-time MEAC Coach of the Year. And then the regional win in 2006. Good stuff there. I would encourage you guys, go check out FAMU Athletics, and they put a nice feature page there, which goes down her accomplishments, her record. It even gives you individual players, like some of the young ladies that she has coached. 3 MEAC Players of the Year, 2 Pitchers of the Year, 2 Rookies of the Year. 84 players have been all MEAC. 40 all tournament, 12 MEAC tournament outstanding players. I mean, just an outstanding career in college athletics at FAMU. Yeah, and what's funny is talk about I don't know. Again, you talk about there's a lot of games here, man. I didn't know softball plays a lot of games. Jeez, Weez. You go look at the rundown of what her record, especially back in the 1990s and 2000. The NCAA must have came in and put a cap on games, because there was a season where we were 43-22. I mean, think about that.
Dang.
That is 65 games that you played in a season.
That's crazy.
Yikes. Yeah, that was the 1997 team. I think that is the most wins in any particular season. Hell, I was on the yard then. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of and sadly even had some wins vacated, probably due to some foolishness in athletics. Even though we won some champions and regionals. So I don't even know. You go look at this. I don't know if this is completely accurate in terms of numbers and so on and so forth. But anyway, go check that out. If you can be, again, the field naming ceremony is Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. You saw the graphic there I had up there. Sarah Rakim. Sarah. 3-time SWAC Player of the Week.
Notice the ring.
I love how she's flashing it, boy. Bling, bling. They had to get a new. Yeah, I love it. I love how she's flashing the ring, letting y'all know. I think she was I think in a game against Mercer. We lost to Mercer 6-1, but I think Sarah was she was the only one that won her match. I think it was a doubles match that she won, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't. Any of you guys have that? Do you have that pulled up in your notes there on Sarah?
No.
No. Okay. Who does tennis have this upcoming weekend?
Let's see.
I'll take a look at that. And then, of course, there's Marcus Taylor, who we just mentioned. He was the SWAC Golfer of the Week. So we had the Golfer of the Week, the Tennis Player of the Week, the Softball Pitcher of the Week, the Co-Hitter of the Week, and Co-Pitcher of the Week in baseball. We also had the Men's Basketball Player of the Week. That's 6. Did I miss one? That's 6. That's every sport except women's basketball, where we had a player of the week. And bowling. Well, the bowling season, I don't think it's over, but it's over. We didn't qualify for the SWAC tournament, so I think bowling season is over.
Mm-hmm.
The tennis team plays North Florida on March 1st, and they play Florida State on March 3rd.
And after that, we start the SWAC heavy schedule through the end of the season.
Sarah had another winning weekend, winning both of her matches at Mercer, along with her teammate and doubles partner, Genesis Whitlock. They won their match 6-1, and then she won her singles match 7-5, 7-5. Of course, I believe Sarah was the reigning SWAC Player of the Year last year. So she's serving notice, hint, hint, play on words, that she's that woman in the SWAC game of tennis. So come get her if you can. Catch her if you can, ladies. And then, of course, you heard Coach Rice earlier talking about Marcus and his performance. We talked about him earlier. Tennis is up. Let me see. One last thing, fellas. And I think anything else I missed other than the women's basketball standings? I think I got it. Of course, the ladies split the Alabama double. Got a win over Alabama State 70-68. Lost. What was funny is we swept the series against Alabama State. And, of course, the Alabama A&M game, of course, that was a game that we should have won up at Alabama A&M, but kind of blew a lead, almost a double-digit lead, blew it, gave up a late basket.
Yeah, we just collapsed.
Yeah. So anyway, split that. So now we go into the final 3 weeks, final 3 games of the season. Last 2 weekends. The Lady Rattlers currently sit in, let me see, that is 7th at 7-8, tied with Prairie View.
5 or 6, right?
Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Well, yes. Okay, so technically tied for 6th, but I guess the SWAC does their tie. I don't know if that necessarily shows tiebreaker or not. How many times have we played Prairie View?
Texas school probably only once.
Mm-hmm.
The ladies are 8-18 overall, 7-8 on the season. Against Prairie View, I don't think we played. Yeah, we beat Prairie View 71-63. So technically, we are the 6th seed. If the tournament started today, we would be the 6th seed, which is good because that means we would match up against UAPB, who they've been a bit of a head case lately. Obviously, they had the little incident a week ago. They had a bit of a losing streak. They did get a win, though. They got off their losing streak. I think they had lost like 3 games in a row. But still, who knows if they're right? That's the kind of team I'd want to play going into the tournament. A team that's had that kind of issue this late in the season. I'd rather see us, if we could squeeze our way into the 5 spot, because I'd rather play Southern. I thought we played well. We'll find out this weekend because, again, we play Jackson State. Well, we played Grambling State, who's 11-3, and Southern. Now, the dangerous part about all this is that Bethune is 1 game behind us in the 8th spot, and then 2 games behind us is Alcorn. So, losing 2 games would mean, A, we don't finish above 500 in conference play, but it also means if Bethune, who they're our travel partner, so they're playing Southern, and the good thing is Bethune is playing the same schedule we are. So they got 2 tough games as well on the road. And, so it's very likely that we could stay in the 7-8 spot. Prairie View's got, I don't know. It's just we're in that point, guys. We're 3 games to play. We're in the hunt. I'd love for this team to finish 500 in conference play, 9-9. I think that would be great if we could finish 9-9 in conference play.
It would.
The question, though, will become, it has, and of course, I know people have talked about the Andre Dawson effect. Has Ariana Grizzle done enough to win Conference Player of the Year?
No, we have to finish.
She got to get, the team has to get to the playoffs. Is there a tournament? Is that?
I think so, for her to win it. She's in the discussion still, but for her to win it, I think we have to make the tournament.
Okay. All right. I think Coach Gordon could coach. I know there's going to be a lot of votes for Tamika Reed if Jackson State stays perfect, but where would you put Coach Gordon on the spectrum if we get, let's say, if FAMU goes into the tournament as the 6th seed? Is Coach Gordon SWAC Coach of the Year?
They're going to give it to Reed. Pine Bluff coach would have a argument also. Grambling coach would have an argument. But I would tell you, in terms of expectations, absolutely. she would be in the discussion because there was none. She got here in August. This is not her team.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And
So
coming off a dismal 2022, 2023.
So yes, she's already surpassed the wins from seasons past. So it absolutely
all expectation.
Absolutely, but with
For
that
year
being
one.
said, yeah. With that being said, is probably Coach Reed's to lose, even though they were expected to win.
Exactly.
Because they have overall winning record too, and they've won some a few out of conference games too.
Correct.
And they've dominated.
Yeah. I agree. EA said you don't want to be that 7 or 8 spot because that means you end up having to play probably Grambling or Jackson State. You don't want to see them. You know what? But I'm curious to see how we play Grambling. We, of course, triple overtime. What were you shaking your head? Nope.
I agree with EA.
Oh.
Don't want to see them too.
Nope.
They deep. My thing is both of those teams, particularly Grambling, more so than Jackson, they got like six or seven girls that can take you off the dribble, man. They are good. I really like their team. Me personally, I like their team better than I like Jackson State team. Jackson State just got great superior coaching and size over most teams.
Yeah. Can you guys get Coach pressure on the show? We're working on it, JT. We're trying to get Coach. She follows, she knows who we are. She follows the show. She might watch every now and then. We know that we're big fans, big supporters. Hopefully we can get her on. Also, I'm gonna be chasing Ariana Grizzle. I want to get Grizzle in here too. I'm a big fan. She's a baller. She's a baller and walking bucket. But anyway, and SWAC player of the year in my opinion. But anyway, okay, Marcus. Any meat on the bone we left anywhere? Anything you want to get out before we close up?
No, just two other commitments. Clyde, I just had his name out. Clyde, he's a 4-star player out of Armwood for class of 20.
Tampa Armwood?
Yep.
Okay.
Give me one quick second. Just had it pulled up. Clyde Pender. 4-star signed with the University of North Carolina in 2020 and left there, then signed with USF, left there with the junior college, and he committed to us last week. So nice. Clyde Pender, 4-star talent, so defensive line, and the young man we were talking about earlier, the linebacker, is Adrian Owens. He's the one that went to Lamar University, another FCS school, transferred, was verbally committed to Jackson State.
I think Owens follows the show. Remember, I sent you guys the message. I think Owens is the one that he follows us. I made sure to follow back. So
all right.
Shout out to him. We got to get him on the show. Hey, we got to reach out. We got to reach out.
No,
Kelvin,
another thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Marcus.
Just another thing. Just seems like the folks were offering, and I don't want to belabor it because it's 11 o'clock. But
yes,
it seemed like we're just loading up the lines again. I mean, we just offered a 6'5", 263 tight end defensive lineman, and we're just stockpiling size. So
that's where we win. That's where you win.
We're pounding. I think we're gonna pound people into submission.
All right. Look, the formula has been set. That's how you win these battles. It's about the speed is going to be everywhere. We can find speed. We can find, you got to find good quarterback play, but you got to have a great offensive line, I think. So, Kelvin, anything you want to get in? Any meat we left on the bone that we didn't get to?
Well, I just want to real quick tidbit on history because in reading it, I didn't even realize this. I was trying to figure out who the coach was before Coach Wiggins. And then looking at it, I still don't know who that coach was, but in looking at it, when women's sports started in 1980, that's right around the time we left the MEAC. We had that dispute with Bethune. Mm-hmm. So while the men's sports were independent for 2 years, the women's sports went to the New South, which became the Athletic Conference. But they didn't sponsor championships. So the whole 80s, we didn't play for championships. And because I was trying to figure out, why our championships with Coach started in 93. And the reason that is because even though we went back to the MEAC, the women's sports didn't go back to the MEAC officially until 92, 93. They stayed in the Trans Athletic. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, once we rejoined the MEAC, we started winning all those softball championships.
So the 726, does that include those years in the 80s, or is it just from what you see on that website? And I didn't do the math with a calculator, so I don't.
I would imagine they count all games, but I'm not sure when Coach started. That's what I was trying to figure out. What was her first season? So I'll do some more research, and I have some of those answers next show next Wednesday.
All right. One last thing from me. Beats, who a pitcher, FAMU baseball pitcher from last season, graduated last year. He just signed. This came out this evening on FAMU Athletics. He signed with the Chicago Cubs in the Major League Baseball, of course. I don't know, to what extent he signed with the Cubs, but spring training is going on now. I don't know if obviously I may be a little ambitious to think that he is in spring training, but I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he already is. Maybe he's but I would assume at least he's working down in the minor leagues with one of the minor league organizations is usually how that works. But congratulations to Hunter for signing a contract with the Cubbies. All right. Final reminder for everybody. Go get your national champions fan ring.
You go get yours.
Challenge accepted, Kelvin. Challenge accepted. I'll show you my receipt, and then I'll challenge you to go get yours.
You ain't got to worry about me.
But make sure to answer your phone, because if you don't pick up on the first ring, I'll hang up and be like, oh, that's all right. I'm just kidding. Same thing. Marcus, are you going to make the investment?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm not a big ring guy. I mean, I still got my FAMU class ring, and I wear that thing like once a year.
I never got a FAMU class ring. I wanted. Did you get a class ring, Kelvin?
I did not get a class ring, but I do have a FAMU ring that I wear almost every day. Just one I ordered, and then I have a couple of actual championship rings from my time as a sports administration.
Oh, okay.
I've never worn them, but I do have them in a case,
in a box somewhere. Look at you. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I always used to think about getting a class ring from FAMU. My father had his. I used to. Well, you know things that you admire from your dad when you were a little kid. I always admired my dad's Norfolk State class ring, and I just remember the story of why he got it. And ever since then, I would.
You can still order one.
Huh?
You still order. You can order rings.
Yeah, I don't know. I might.
You can still, and just like with these rings, you can go to the site and order a FAMU class ring with your year on it. Yeah.
Man, I might have to do that. I always that might mean something to me more than a fan ring for a game I didn't really play in, or hell, Anyway, I'm gonna tell on myself. I say anymore. Okay, so there's your last chance tomorrow, guys. Again, this is a great fundraiser. This fundraiser by FAMU Athletics will go towards helping to support the purchasing of 2 sets of rings for the football team, the SWAC championship, as well as the Celebration Bowl. Reminder, go to the Rattler Athletic Fund, donate $54 for the 54 holes that our FAMU golf team plays. So, or you could just $18.87, $18.87. So make a donation in the Rattler Athletic Fund to FAMU Golf in honor of Coach Rice coming on the show today. We appreciate you guys watching tonight. Thank you to Coach Rice. Thank you to Coach Henry. Thank you to Gerald Huggins for joining us. You guys make sure to hit them up on social media where they are and just thank them for taking some time out tonight to come on the show. That's going to do it for tonight. We thank you for hanging in there with us tonight. A lot of winning going on.
What was it, Deacon Jones?
Deacon Jones, yeah. Hold on, I gotta make sure I gotta shout out Miss Joanne. Shout out in California, Miss Joanne. It's early evening in California. You know, it's East Coast time. Folks is ready to go to bed out here. She's like, hey, it's just 8:00 right now. But hey, shout out to Musa, Jeremy Musa, of course, the Deacon Jones Award winner, the first one from FAMU. So we've got the first Deacon Jones Trophy winner. We've got the first, well, not the first, but we got our first Buck Buchanan Award winner for Defensive Player of the Year. FAMU football stacking trophies and acknowledgments and awards. Congratulations again.
He was the co-though, wasn't he?
Yes, he was the co along with Davius Richard.
Okay.
So, you know, congratulations to them both, and we wish Davius a speedy recovery as he recovers from his injury. And to the rest of the Rattler football guys, I know you guys are out there training, working hard, and we look forward to hearing about your pro day on March 20th.
Javon Morgan and Terrell Jennings. I'm looking to see what kind of time they put up, because if they put up the right times, I think they'll get opportunity in somebody camp.
Yeah. Does Vaughn still have the belts? I don't know. EA. I think that's HBCU game day. You may have to check HBCU game day about the belts. Those championship belts. Yeah.
They say they had a few. Somebody said they had a few, but that was
a couple weeks ago when
week and a half ago, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? They're about the same price as the fan ring. So just to give you a tip, it might be more than the fan ring. Honestly,
they are.
Yeah. Okay. So depends on how you like the roll. Okay. That's going to do it for tonight. Thank you guys. For Marcus Green, Kelvin Rozier, I'm Bryan Fulford. Thanks for watching. Let's see if we can keep the winning going, FAMU. You guys get out and support our teams, especially a lot of them are on the road. Softball's home. Baseball is up in Atlanta, and basketball is in Louisiana. So
tennis is at Florida State.
Exactly. So plenty of opportunities. And then I think Monday golf is in Daytona Beach. So that's where everybody is. So be well, Rattler Nation. Fangs up. Make sure to strike, and strike again. Good night, everybody. Love you guys. Peace out.
Oh,